was shot in the chest. I spent 53 days in the hospital, survived multiple life-saving surgeries. I was accused of a crime I didn't do and spent 138 days incarcerated before I was acquitted of all charges. And we're going to talk about it. I lost everything. I did think I was going to die. I was accused of crime.
Right.
And someone else was now saying that they're the victims.
Do you think anybody expected you to survive that?
Most people don't survive a gunshot wound to the chest. The hospital was hard. Two people in plain clothes walked in and they were like, "Hi, Kelsey, just so you know, like audio, video recording." He told me I was being arrested. I wasn't allowed any outside communication. My family wasn't allowed to visit me anymore. I couldn't even call them to say, "I love you," before a surgery. Cuffed and shackled by my own department, put in a transportation van, and driven 2 hours to a women's jail. It's guilty until proven innocent in our system. Google this person's name.
Yeah.
Whose house did she burn down? I actually think dying would have been easier than surviving and enduring everything I have had to.
When did you first feel that the tide was turning?
I just think she's an evil human being. So I had to cancel my surgery. These are not normal decisions that judges make.
Like you went into the jail cell, we went to the library on the first floor.
My days in jail were hard.
I would tell you, I just need you to stay alive one more day. I was worried that getting off the phone with you was the last time that I was going to talk to you.
I felt like I disrupted everybody's life. I feel so bad for what they all went through too. I had to turn around and go back to a jail cell, like just so badly I wanted to leave with them. So shocking. No one was expecting me to go back to jail. She ordered me to go back into custody. I just heard my mom crying.
They put Kelsey back in jail. I need you here now.
Everything comes to light. Everything.
Did you ever think that you were not going to be acquitted?
Telling the truth is really easy, and you can see it in the different testimonies.
Did you feel like anyone in that courtroom actually understood your situation?
Right. Miss Fitzsimmons is a defendant, like as if that meant I'm not a human being.
Now, what do you think the darkest moment was during that 138 days?
I don't even think I've said this to my family. So just trigger warning. It's a hard listen. My life is ruined. I don't think I can ever rebuild from this. I couldn't even step outside for a breath of fresh air.
Were there times that you feared for your health while in custody?
I was definitely not going to properly heal from my environment. I still have pain every day, and maybe it would be different if I healed at home instead of in a jail cell.
You would scream at me, I would scream at you. You'd say, "I'm not mad at you," and I'd say, "I'm not mad at you either." What do you think kept you going during those hard times? I think those were days to look forward to, but those were also the days that you cried the hardest.
It was hard to see all the changes and milestones that I missed.
What would people be surprised to learn about being held pre-trial?
Inmates did know I was a police officer and a former corrections officer. What's your last question for
My
me?
last question would be, do you forgive anybody involved in all of this?
You tried to destroy my life and you failed. I'm still here. I'm still standing.
All right. Welcome to Mazza Media. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on YouTube tonight. It is Sunday, June 28th, 2026. We are days away from the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. And in a country where we fight for freedom, Kelsey Fitzsimmons has gotten back her freedom in 2026 during the 250-year anniversary of the United States of America. Ladies and gentlemen, this fundraiser is now underway. And amazingly, you guys are not going to believe the opening total for this fundraiser so far. We are at $1,100 is our opening total tonight. That is the highest opening total before a fundraiser has even begun. We had some donations already come in, And there it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. We are striving for $5,000 tonight, over $5,000. If we can get $5,000 or more, Kelsey Fitzsimmons will hit $200,000 on her GiveSendGo, which would be absolutely amazing. They're going to have to up that goal, ladies and gentlemen, because we have done an amazing job, and that is absolutely fantastic. It's a great day, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fantastic day for Kelsey here today. The dollars in the numbers are going to go up for Kelsey Fitzsimmons, and quite honestly, this is a huge fundraiser tonight. This is one of the biggest fundraisers in terms of being critical. Kelsey Fitzsimmons will need our financial support, and we're going to do that here tonight. Honestly, she continuously has expenses that need to be made, and this fundraiser is very critical. And we're doing this here tonight too. I was planning on the next fundraiser for Kelsey Fitzsimmons and said to myself, when do I want to do it? Last week I was like, I'm not sure, maybe next weekend. All of a sudden, Friday, I'm sitting down eating dinner, and I see Case Notes Unfiltered, which premieres on June 30th, the anniversary date of what happened to Kelsey 1 year ago. That outrageous story, that unacceptable story 1 year ago already, which is hard to believe. But I said to myself, maybe what we can do is what we usually do here on Mazza Media, which is promote things, which is hype things up. We always did that for standouts over the years for Karen Reed. And I said, why don't we do what we always do best here? Why don't we do a fundraiser to segue into the premiere for Case Notes Unfiltered with Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Courtney Healy. You saw Courtney Healy's interviewing skills there. Fantastic job. I'm looking forward for this video. We have special guests tonight. Nick Rekieta Law will be making his debut here on Mazda Media tonight. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law will be here tonight. And joining us, one of the greatest attorneys of all time, probably the best attorney not named Mark Betterow of all time, Lori Mullen is here. And a Maverick from Kentucky, KY Maverick, is in the house, and I'm going to bring them to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you guys doing tonight?
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
I'm doing awesome tonight. I decided not to shave. So
I know, I noticed. I like it.
Yeah.
Very rugged.
Yeah, exactly. I'm excited.
I didn't shave tonight either, so no
that's
judgment.
Good. That's good. Yeah, I saw you had a beard there. I was like, boy, she's really
exactly.
looks like James Harden from the Houston Rockets or whatever, the Cleveland Cavaliers. No, it's great. Good to see you guys. I'm happy for tonight's show. And we had a surprise. We had a $1,000 donation that came in from a person named Alan that came in about an hour or two before the show even went live. And it said Mazza Fundraiser. And I'm like, yeah, I'm counting
that
it.
Counts. That counts.
Yep, that counts for sure. Before we
awesome.
get going, KY Maverick, we hope you're feeling well. We know you've been going through a lot. We're praying for your health. And, I know that, things have been tough, but, I know things are also looking up for you as well. So I just want to let you know that you're in our prayers, sir. And we hope for the best for you health-wise.
I appreciate that. And, I'm tired tonight, so I may not be on here too awfully long. I'm supposed to be in Nashville right at 8:15 in the morning for my first 48 blood draws or tests for blood draws.
Wow.
They'll do it with 18 vials, but it'll be 48 tests. That's how you start the week off.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's necessary for what you got to do. Unfortunately, you have to face this. But, in the end, I think it's going to be a great result for you. Okay, we're praying for you. So
Everybody's behind you, Joe, praying for you and really hoping for the best outcome. And it seems like you've been going in the right direction now for quite a while with Vanderbilt. So that's fantastic.
A lot of hoops.
It seems that way for sure. But you think part of it is like, just testing you and making sure that you're going to be up to doing it?
Well, at this point, they know I need it. So at this point, they're looking for an absolute contraindication.
Okay.
And if you don't find an absolute contraindication, then I'll be listed. And I hope to know that by the end of the day on the 10th is my I'm hoping to know.
Wow. That's like less than 2 weeks away. Awesome.
Wow.
And I'll be in Nashville most of that time. So
Absolutely. We're glad you're here. And again, that's just so noble of you, Joe, as well. I like to call you KY because I like that nickname so much. It's so noble of you to show up here for this. You're going to the health thing, but you're striving and working forward through that. But then you're also here fighting for Kelsey, which again just shows that how much this means to you. We appreciate that from you as well.
Yeah, Kelsey needs all the support she can get, and she deserves it. So, how can you not be here when you have the opportunity to be here?
Exactly. And, throughout tonight's show, we might have trolls that show up from time to time. Well, I have to put the trolls on notice because there is a new moderator in town. Lori Mullen today told me right before the show, she says, I'm not going to come on your show anymore unless you make me mod. I go, Lori, how could you say this to me? This is unbelievable.
Like, I shade for you and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So we have a new mod out there. So she'll be looking at the chat. You guys mouth off and get out of line. Be on the lookout. Yeah,
I'm only anybody that insults me, you're gone. Anybody else is fine. You just can't pick on me.
Right, exactly. You have a wrench now and you know how to use it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, it's great. Oh man, I'm pumped up for tonight. This is a great show. Right? Nick is going to be with us a little bit later. Yeah. He will be joining us tonight. We're over $196,000 on Kelsey's GiveSendGo now. We're over that. Quick.
This is a great night to do this, Maza, coming up on, we got Kelsey's podcast coming up and premiering. And, as everybody knows, the reason why she's doing that on June 30th is because it's the 1-year anniversary of when her nightmare began, and it's incredible when we think back to, in some ways, it seems to me like this has been going on forever. But when you think that we haven't even hit a year from when she was first shot and all those horrible things happened to her, can you imagine being Kelsey and having all of those things happen to you within this time span? It's just crazy to even fathom it, getting shot, getting sent to jail, getting charged. Initially, the indictment didn't come down, but initially she was charged with trying to murder, Officer Noonan, and then that got downgraded. But then being sent to jail, doing 138 days in jail after being shot in the chest, almost dying, and then losing custody of her child, and still fighting to get the custody back. And all of this has happened since last June 30th, 2025. It just, in some ways, it just seems like a lifetime of horrible things that happened to Kelsey within, at this point now under 365 days. It's mind-boggling. Yeah,
it's incredible. And it's hard to believe too that trial has been over now for a couple months, but I'm just excited, for Kelsey to continue moving forward. It seems like every week, that goes by, she seems to be almost in a better situation, or things seem to be progressing. Yeah. And overall, I just think like tonight too is just a great way to remember what happened a year ago. And again, be on the lookout for other stories that come up in our state or country where there's individuals like Kelsey Fitzsimmons, who in my opinion, I like to call her, we always said during the Karen Reed trials, anyone could be Karen Reed. And when we saw Kelsey Fitzsimmons, it's like, yes, here's another individual that is facing a set of circumstances where she's being put on the stand for a crime she didn't commit. She's up against a police department that seems to be more than its fair share of corrupt and controversial, to say the least. But this one had a little bit of a caveat to it, which was Kelsey was a cop. And these cops that this happened with were her own partners, her own colleagues, which was absolute insanity. And you just see what goes on in Canton. And the officer, Sean Good, and what's going on with him. You look at the state police, Michael Proctor, what's going on with him. And you look at this North Andover Police Department and you say to yourself, when is that department going to face some true judgment here? I know the chief of police has basically taken a paid summer off. So basically he can spend time in Cape Cod, Miami, Los Angeles, wherever he wants to go, and enjoy a paid summer. But I think at the end of the day, while I want to see Kelsey get her life back to as much normalcy as possible, I'm looking at this department and asking myself, what is going on? What even in our state, who is looking at what happened here? An officer was shot. She nearly lost her life in her own home. these officers all rallied around the other officer who is the, really the villain in this. Let's be honest. Let's be clear. I'm not going to really beat around the bush and say, like I usually say, opposition. I usually tone it down. This guy basically pulled a firearm and shot Kelsey, who had just had her child basically all but ripped from her arms moments before, suffering from postpartum depression at the time. This guy screwed up big time. And while he's wherever he is now in terms of the department, I just don't feel like this guy has been basically given enough punishment for this. And I feel like this department really needs to pay the piper. And I hope one day, I don't know what's to come, but I do hope Kelsey and her defense team decide to file, or civil lawyers decide to file a civil lawsuit, which I anticipate against the North Andover Police Department in the near future. When that happens, I don't know, but it's something I think that needs to happen. I think it will, but it's something that just needs to happen because this department screwed the pooch big time.
Mm-hmm. We both, Mark, we both sat within 3 feet of him, and we saw his smugness, and that's hard to get out of your mind. I have a question. Because of the child custody, is this pretty much going to pin Kelsey to have to remain in Massachusetts and as long as the child's a minor?
Well, I mean, it makes sense because I think ultimately her goal would be to have shared custody with Justin so that the child has both Justin and Kelsey in her life. And normally speaking, you need to have the court's permission. If you're the custodial parent, to leave the state with the child, you would need the court's permission to do that, or the written consent of the other party, which then we usually do put into a court order. Now that said, sometimes we do stuff like that, and the parties could agree. For instance, in a case like this, where New Hampshire is like really close, right? I mean, but because the jurisdictional laws change based on where the child lives and what state would have jurisdiction over continuing matters, it is something that does need to get court approved. But so I mean, at this point, I don't think she has any plans to be leaving the state, because I think she wants to be near her son and have her son near his family and her family as well, right? So
yeah. Now, I noticed they moved the pretrial out into October, the conference, right, but they left the administrative review on the 13th. Will anything actually come out of that administrative review as far as change?
Right. So I feel they're doing these administrative reviews because of the appointment of the guardian ad litem. They had an administrative review like about a week ago too, and those aren't really anything publicized. It's not a hearing. It's done by Zoom, and it's usually, even sometimes the judge won't even come on. It'll be the assistant judicial case manager, which is what we refer to in family court. That would be the judge's clerks, and they are usually lawyers. The AJCMs are definitely lawyers, or the session clerk. They're not generally lawyers, but they may conduct that little administrative review with the parties, so that they can kind of get an idea. Have you heard from the GAL yet? Has that appointment reached them? What's going on with that? And you see, after that last administrative review, we ended up getting a new GAL appointed. Okay. And so that new appointment just went out. Why did that happen? It's not really clear on the docket, but it's possible that GAL just declined for whatever reason. He could have declined for conflict. He could have declined because he's not taking new cases right now, but because everything's a process and everything gets dragged out, it takes so long. So there is another administrative review in July, on July 13th. That's at 8 a.m. That's not really a hearing. But also on that day, we have the return date on the restraining order. And that's coming in, I think, at 10 a.m. And I believe right now we just have a no abuse order. The restraining order has been reduced to basically just a no abuse order. And I guess the point would be, my understanding is that that's going to be dismissed. The whole restraining order is going to be dismissed on that day, unless there have been further incidents, which there have not been any further incidents, certainly of any form of abuse. And so that's going to happen in July. Then the GAL's getting involved, and they have until I want to say maybe like close to October 1st to file their report. So we usually do the pretrial conference after that report comes in, because that's what makes sense to do it at that point. Now, that doesn't mean that Kelsey can't go back to court at some point and try to increase her parenting time. That was addressed in the last order. And basically what the judge said is, you can come back and you don't have to wait for the GAL report. But right now, we're not going to increase the parenting time because there's not enough of a change in circumstance since you were only here a month ago. The original order on the parenting time had only entered a month before. But I do believe that we will probably see another motion coming in, maybe probably mid to late July, early August, to talk about that parenting time being increased again, or to at least remove the supervision portion of it, which is another reason why we have to keep doing these fundraisers. I mean, I don't think people understand how much the supervision actually costs. It's incredible. It's a lot of money. And on top of everything else, I mean, it seems $200,000 seems like a huge number, and it is a huge number. And thank you to everybody who's always donated, and people that are new to the page and new to this YouTube presentation, as Aiden would say, for donating tonight. If you've never donated any amount, and nothing is too small, $5, $3, it really doesn't matter. It all adds up, and Kelsey really needs it because she's had a whole criminal trial and was found not guilty. Involved in that criminal trial were 2 appeals to the Supreme Judicial Court of Massachusetts. So there's not a ton of money, if any, left from the fund to begin with. And now we're dealing with the family court case where she has an attorney, and multiple pleadings and multiple hearings have already occurred, and it's continuing. And on top of that, she has to pay for the supervisor to see her child. So any donation is not too small, and it's so appreciated. She wouldn't be where she is today without it. That's just the truth. And she's so thankful, really, for having that.
When you think about the fact that she's paying to see her child for the supervision, probably more than many that's watching the show tonight make annually on an annual basis. It's amazing. You have to pay that much just to see your baby. And it really underscores why you still need to raise funds. And I know a lot of people think, well, the criminal trial's over, but that's just the first step.
Exactly. And this is even more important to Kelsey. You know what I mean? This has been her end goal always. Getting through the criminal trial was to get to her son. That's all it's always been about. So and she's not there yet. She's closer to being there than she was, but she's still fighting. She's still fighting to right this wrong. And so lucky that she has this army behind her, because I with what went on with that judge in the Superior Court case, I shudder to think what would have happened if she didn't have the representation that she had and the resources that she had, because, it was horrible, really horrible.
Are you still seeing McCarthy on the docket when you review it?
Am I still seeing what?
Are you still seeing Judge McCarthy showing up a lot on the docket?
No, I don't see her. Well, first of all, we're not in the Superior Court anymore. Oh, you mean like in other cases? I haven't really been looking, but I believe she's still out there. She hasn't been removed as far as I know, despite I know efforts to have that occur. But luckily, the one thing we know for sure is Kelsey's never going to have to see that woman again, because that's over. And guess what? Not guilty, not guilty. So, after all that, spending all that time in jail and then not guilty.
Yeah,
crazy.
I just had, just with that judge and just basically having PTSD from Judge Beverly Cannone and the Karen Reed case, and then seeing really Judge Kathleen McCarthy Naiman really be like, hold my beer to Cannone. I mean, Judge Beverly Cannone seemed like a teacher you actually liked, if you were a student, whereas this other teacher judge seemed like a teacher that, for example, if she was your teacher in school, would just try to flunk you just for the sake of flunking you, even though you actually passed the test. That's the kind of impression. If I had to translate these judges to analogies where they were teachers in school, those are the analogies I would use, where Beverly Cannoni, maybe she wasn't so bad in comparison to Kathleen McCarthy-Naiman, because McCarthy-Naiman had it in for Kelsey. This was like the Wicked Witch, I'll get you, my pretty. That's basically what this was like, watching that court case, and all of a sudden she's in jail in solitary, over this. This is absolute madness. And I just could not believe it. And I said to myself, if this thing goes to trial with this judge at the controls of this whole thing, there's no telling. I mean, that takes away.
Oh, yeah. That would have been, can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Maza? I mean,
bench
like,
trial. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could not have done a bench trial with her. I mean, that was a decision that they made when they knew she wasn't going to be involved, because I can't, there's no way in heck they would be having a bench trial.
No.
With her. I mean, she already had figured she was guilty, it's almost like she was disappointed when the grand jury didn't indict. Like, she definitely had a bias that was there and palpable. I mean, anybody could see it, and I've never heard of the things that she did being done. I've never heard of someone being sent to jail for asking for a modification on bail. I've never heard of it ever. It's just wild. And I don't do criminal law, but I mean, I've been practicing a long time. So I've been involved in a lot of different cases over 37 years. And Tim Bradel has been a criminal attorney for a very long time, and he's never heard of it. You know who else has never heard of it? Mark Bedero, never heard of it. Because when you're going to the court and you ask for a modification, these are things that you're allowed to do. These are part of, our rules and how we can conduct ourselves appropriately. And if you want something to change, how do you do it? You file a motion and you ask for something to change. And guess what? The judge can say, no, I'm not changing it. Or yes, I am changing it. Not, no, I'm not changing it, and instead I'm going to send you to jail. I mean, it's like, what just happened? I honestly, I have to say, I mean, as horrible as that was for Kelsey, and I mean, for her to be enduring that when she was still recovering from being shot, it is just incredible to me. But I think it put a lot of eyes on this case for sure. I definitely people
that got me. Yeah, that got me involved.
Me too. I mean, I was watching it. I had an interest in it, but when I saw that happen, and having Tim there, and if you hear the recording, and Tim even after the recording was just like, what the F blank, you know what I mean? It was just like, and hearing Kelsey crying, and then literally being hauled off to jail. It was like,
I've never seen a judge that wouldn't listen to her own probation officer.
Insane. Sure. They all listen to they rely so much on probation. Even in our family court, like the family court has a probation department too. And our probation department does like investigations, and they'll meet with parties and things like that. And they make reports to the judge. And our judges have so much respect for the probation department, generally as a whole. So you're right, Joe. That was so, I don't know, that says a lot about somebody's character right there. And you're talking about an independent, unbiased person who's working for the court system, and you're going to treat that person like that. It
leaves me believing there's something else behind it. I mean, why does a person put their career on the line doing something like that? Unless she's done it before and gotten away with it, but still,
or if there was something personal, right? I mean, that's what
I mean. That's why I'm doing that personal,
right? And you know what? I remember. I don't know if you guys remember seeing this, but I remember a post on X. Where Tim was talking about this thing happening, and then David Yannetti, the great David Yannetti, Boston defender, he commented on it and saying, oh, I've always really respected, Judge McCarthy-Naiman, and she's always been so great and so fair. And I don't know anything about your case, Tim, but like, I have a hard time believing this. So that kind of stuck with me too, because I'm like, okay, well, if she really is so great in all these other cases, then maybe there is something personal here, right? Maybe there is some reason why in this particular case she has such a problem. And in that case, what do you do as a judge? You automatically recuse yourself. If you feel like you can't be unbiased and you can't just, be fair to the defendant, or you have, even if it's just a little bit, you just need to recuse yourself. There's plenty of other judges. You don't need to continue on. It seemed to me like when we saw that motion that Tim had filed for her to recuse herself, which was never heard, interestingly, right? Never vetted and never heard. But it's out there. And if anybody wants to ever look in the pleadings on mass courts, it's there. And it's something that you can look at to see what Tim found out about this judge and why he wanted her removed from Kelsey's case. It didn't end up happening because they basically said it was moot, meaning that they didn't need to address it because she wasn't going to be hearing the case anyway.
Under the rug.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so let's move along here. But it was always a worry because then what happened was here we are approaching trial, and she's not supposedly going to be hearing the case, but the case hasn't been specifically assigned and she hasn't been removed. So her name still kept coming up as the judge on the case and whatnot. So if you're, Tim Bradel and Kelsey and Courtney Healy, and you're trying to decide, should we do a bench trial or not? And are they going to do the bait and switch? Right? Are we going? We're going to get her to the point and get them to the point of saying, yes, we're doing a bench trial. And then, it's like, who shows up that day? Like a scene from Scooby-Doo, like you pull off the mask and it's actually Kathleen McCarthy Naiman sitting.
Kathleen McCarthy Naiman? No way.
No way. You meddling kids. Yeah. So I mean, it was a scary decision to make. And Judge Karp was great. I mean, I felt he was so level-headed and whatnot, and he listened to everything and he did a really good job. But what a scary time. And you have to remember when we go back to how much money was spent on fees and things like that. The whole time Tim Bradel was preparing this case as though it was going to be going to a jury and was going to last 2 to 3 weeks. You have to be prepared for that. You don't just decide and be like, okay, now I'm going to do this bench trial. I mean, up until the last minute, they were still concerned with bench versus jury. A jury trial would have looked a lot different, and it would have taken a lot more time. I mean, they were talking about just the impanelment of the jury lasting an entire week. Okay. And instead we ended up with a 4-day trial. So, but you have to prepare for it. You have to prepare for all of that, even though it ends up being something else. So a lot of time, a lot of money. And thanks to everybody, we got her over that hump, and now we're on to the next hurdle, which for Kelsey is really her most important hurdle. And I see that we have quite a few donations already in Maza. And that's fantastic. Love to see it. So great.
See, that keeps going up every couple minutes. Yeah,
you guys are incredible. Really. I mean, to be this far out, to already have the trial over, and I find that the followers of Kelsey and Karen Reed, frankly, they're so smart. They get it. You know what I mean? They always just get it, and they understand the assignment. And I really appreciate that. I've had really good conversations with a lot of these people, and a lot of these people showed up at the trial. I got to meet a lot of them too. Fantastic people, including the two of you two gentlemen, you two bearded gentlemen. And that way it was great. She has a great community behind her.
You talked about the trolls earlier. I mean, like this morning when somebody goes on there and just cuts her down because she has shorts on instead of pants.
I saw that. Your post was great on that, KY.
Don't you think that makes people want to give too? Yes. I don't think they realize how much they actually drive the giving through their negativity.
Exactly. I mean, if you remember when Justin filed that last silly motion in family court, or like a response to a motion where he made all these accusations against Kelsey, Lauren, common sense investigator Lauren Caidyn, went on her show, did like an impromptu live fundraiser, And what do we get? Maybe like $500 to $700 in donations, just because,
yes, you did.
because people get it. Like, they don't understand you're not helping your cause. You're making it worse. You're just making it worse. And you're making people believe even more in Kelsey, and you're making people understand even more what she's been put through, and you're continuing to put her through. So bring it, trolls, go ahead and bring it. Cause anytime you post these things, for every troll, there's like, 25 Kelsey supporters. So good luck. And I think the trolls are the same people that just keep changing their name on X over and over and over.
Oh, again. Yeah. That's what it's like that is in the Karen Reed world. It's the same person operating 20 different accounts. And they probably, it's constantly, like we saw it happen a month or two ago, right before the Newburyport incident that allegedly happened. And there was this account, like, you guys will see real soon. Well, how do you get that inside information? How would you know that? Who are you? Yeah. And it was just more,
right.
A lot of shadow
tactics. I haven't heard from that person again, right? I mean, it was like a week full of like nasty, ridiculous posts about Kelsey with all this, promising all of these receipts that were going to be coming out, and there were 0 receipts, and it was all just a smear campaign. And then we don't hear from that account anymore. You know what I mean? So, you just really go be careful.
I don't know about you all, but I think my blocks are up to about 260 now on there.
Yeah.
I've been in the block game for a long time. After I'm not just talking about blocks that I've made in basketball either. I'm talking like actually I used to block people, in the last century, in the beginning of the century, I used to block people on the basketball court. Now I block them on X all the time. It's just kind of a transition for me. But
it's such a great little button, isn't it?
It is. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, don't you
wish you had that in life? Like, you could just like walk around and like, I'm over this. I'm just going to block you, like, and just get away from me, but
oh my goodness. Like, I don't want this person in my life anymore. You're blocked.
You're just blocked. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But nobody needs to take that kind of abuse, but I mean, and sometimes those ridiculous, obnoxious people have the loudest voices, as we see even like, in the Karen Reed situation, and Aiden's case too. But they're so inconsequential to really understanding what's going on. They just have a vendetta. I mean, that's all it is. It's ridiculous.
It's unreal. It's just this whole thing. It's all, they're just the wild things that happen, with Newburyport. Kelsey can't even walk her dog or whatever she was up to in that area without people trying to come up with some kind of allegation. Hey man, Kelsey's in the area. Yeah, she's walking her dog. He wants to say she's drunk and she's out of control and she's basically, because that brings it back. You know what that does for me? When I heard that story, you know what I said to myself? Me being someone who is skeptical, what was that story? The story that they talked about Kelsey allegedly being drunk at. What was that, up in Maine? That story almost had the same vibe to it. It was the same, like, oh yeah, she was drunk and out of control, man. Oh, you should have seen what she was doing. It was the same kind of feel with the Newburyport story. Block Island, I'm sorry. Yeah, Block Island. The Block Island story. They had also this big story concocted about Kelsey this, Kelsey that. Kelsey's, she just walks around like, like she's got a bottle in her hand all day long. It's like, give me a break. And then you hear this Newburyport.
I think the Block Island story, and I'm not trying to correct you, Mazza, but I think that that person's referring to what Melanie Little calls when she blocks people off of her chat. She says she's sending them to Block Island. So I think that's what that person means. But I don't. Where was she? I forget where she was in Maine for that bachelorette party. But
it was the bachelorette party. Right, exactly. That was the Maine. I'm like Block Island. Right. I'm like, thank you for correcting me.
Island, but like that's what Melanie Little says.
That's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, isn't that south?
Block Island is a beautiful time of year. Right. You'll love it there.
Right.
There really is
I'm
one.
Thinking,
I think there is a real one.
There is a real Block Island in Rhode Island.
There is, it's in Rhode Island.
It's off the coast of Rhode Island. You have to take a ferry to get there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to visit. But that's what Melanie sends people when they annoy her in her chat.
When I heard Block Island, I'm like, yeah, I guess it was Block Island. I'm like, wait a second, I think that's like in Rhode Island.
I forget where exactly. Was it Bar Harbor? I forget. Yeah. I forget where she was in Maine. Maybe I forget that. But yeah, you know what? I mean, you forget about that too. Add all of that too to what Kelsey has been through. Like right before, like honestly, it would have been this weekend. Okay. Last year, this weekend, Kelsey was at her bachelorette party, getting ready to get married. Just had a baby in February, had a wedding already planned for October. They were all out celebrating this. And then all of this stuff happened to her. All of this stuff happened to her. She lost, you know, her pending nuptials, her, you know, fiance, her baby. She got shot. She was jailed. She was threatened while she was in jail. She was mistreated by one of the correctional officers while she was there. And she spent she spent Thanksgiving there. She spent her son's birthday there, not in jail, but she did not get to see her son. I think she was out by then, but didn't get to see him for his birthday. She missed his she was in jail for his baptism. So she missed all of these milestones of her child too. And all of these things happened within a year. I mean, to say that she's not strong, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I don't back then when it was something to do with my children. And she was also suffering from postpartum depression on top of everything else, you know? So for her to have gotten through all of that and survive all of that, this is a very, very strong person, a very strong person.
I mean, think about all the stories about her ramming her car into.
Right. There's always time for a Billy Joel reference, Lori. Sorry about that. I had to get that out of my system.
I love that. Yeah, and you know, I'm a big Billy Joel fan, so don't get me singing here, Mazza.
Right, exactly. Down Easter Alexa
very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've already told the cow story. I've already did all the states in alphabetical order. It's like maybe I'll sing a Billy Joel song for y'all.
Right. Exactly.
I remember when he was young enough, he was dancing on the piano.
Wow.
I've seen that in person.
Wow. Yeah. Well, you're in a great spot for musical people, right? Seeing a lot of that kind of stuff down there in Kentucky, Tennessee, that whole area. Awesome.
Yeah, it's just I think back to that story though, when I said that about her and, you know, the Bachelorette and how her behavior was. That's a story. That's a story, again, not knowing these people before the fact, you know, having to kind of piece everything together myself, you know, as we all do as individuals. I just said I never really believed that story. And even if she had been drinking, I feel like that story was over exaggerated. Then you see that Newburyport story, and you know, it's debated if she even actually went in the place or not. Maybe she had just passed by, and now you're hearing, oh, apparently she was there and she did this. And it's like, you know, again, if they're not being truthful about the Newburyport story, then almost certainly that story in Maine is absolutely a farce, you know. And again, it's just crazy.
We need to take a collection up for that whole group because evidently none of them can afford a smartphone. So there's no pictures, no videos.
Right.
They just had their flip phones, I guess, you know.
Karen Reed can't even walk outside of her apartment in Boston or her studio in Boston without even getting a picture of herself putting out her trash. If Kelsey Fitzsimmons is in public, I've never really seen any photos of her surface, but I will say this. If Kelsey Fitzsimmons was acting in the manner that she was described in that video or in that, you know, letter document, then that would have certainly been photographed. And those photos would have been those troll accounts, for example, that were talking about how they knew about all this and all that. Those same accounts weeks before would have had those photos and been like, here's a photo, Mazza. Here's a video, Lauren Katie. Here's a photo and video, Lauren Mullen. You know, this would have been all over the internet. And I remember thinking when the story first came out, because, you know, when I first hear a story, the first thing I ask myself is it true or not? And I start to think through everything as I'm a deep thinker. And I said to myself, wait a second, why wouldn't this have been photographed and videoed and leaked on the internet like 4 weeks ago? And that's when I'm like, okay, yeah, this thing's a total. Not that I ever really believed it, anyways. But again, you never know how people act. You know, as much as you love them and support them, you never know. But at the same time, I didn't really think that Kelsey, in a million years, at this point in her life, would act this way, given what she's just gone through and just been through. And I was just like, no way in hell, give me a break. And I'm like, they would have had this. These people would have had this stuff all over the internet, and it would have been like, there you go. You know, she's a drinker. You know, you bet your bottom dollar of Karen Reed. I mean, Karen Reed can't even have a photo posted of her without her drinking with Alan Jackson having dinner a week or two ago.
Yeah,
you know, and without trolls saying, look at the alcoholic. Yeah.
Wasn't she even I remember Karen, and that's, you know, that's the thing. It's like almost like a lifetime and a lifestyle change that you have to have, where you have to assume that everything you do, someone might take a picture of you doing it, even if it's the most innocent thing in the world. So there was a comment going on about Karen and a picture attached to it of her sitting at a bar having a drink.
Yeah.
Big whoop. Who cares? Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the woman can't sit at a bar and have at a very nice bar in Boston, by the way. And honestly, if I was nearer to there, I might leave work and go over there and have a drink at the bar too. You know, it doesn't mean anything. You know, you can. She's an adult woman who has the right to do those things, and it's the same thing with Kelsey. You know, I do think she went into that bar because some girls came out and were talking to her. They recognize her. Everybody recognizes Kelsey. She's like walking the dog. She has this big, huge white dog, and she walks. She lives in the area, and she was walking by, and they were like, "Oh, come on in, come on in, come on in." Guess what? She didn't have her son with her. She didn't leave her son in the car. He wasn't left at an apartment or anything like that. She went in and she had a drink and left, you know? And then even at the last court hearing, there was a picture. And I'm not really even sure. It might have even been taken with Kelsey's phone that her attorney, Julie Hess, had, and said to the court, Your Honor, this was like a picture that was taken at the end, right before Kelsey left. And as you can see, everybody's fine and normal and like nothing's happening. So to try to take something innocent that someone does and turn it into what it was being turned into, that's the problem. And also Kelsey was found not guilty of the charges. She's an innocent woman. She's an adult woman. She lives by herself. She has no restrictions. She's not on bail because why? She was not guilty. Okay. So she doesn't have bail. She doesn't have any conditions of bail. If she wants to go out and have a drink, she can go out and have a drink. If she has her child, if you told me, okay, she brought the child to the bar and she was getting loaded, okay, that's a problem. And you know, that has happened in my practice before. I've seen that type of case before, but that's not what happened here. So it's not news. It's not news. It's just gossip is all it is.
Yeah. No, people don't realize they have a target painted on their back. I don't care whether we're talking about Karen Reed or whether we're talking about Kelsey. And you know, it's you know, if they go out and drive, there's no reason. If you can't trust the law enforcement, you know how easy it is to fail a field sobriety test. They can fail anybody. Oh, I saw her eye jerk.
Right. I mean, tip for everybody: just always refuse all of that, because the field sobriety test can be so manipulated. I mean, it's not good. You know, I mean, I honestly, like when I see those videos of the people doing the field sobriety test, I don't know about you guys, but I start doing them myself, like completely sober, to see if I could do them, and I can't. So it's like, you know, walk foot, you know, head, whatever, heel to toe in a straight line. But I'm like, oh man, I can't do this. Like, so, and I'm sober, but I can't do it. So God forbid that I ever get asked to do anything like that.
Well, I heard Karen Reed say that she didn't have her license back. And I thought about it. It's really not wise. I have the one that I worked with for a while. I've asked her, don't get her license back. Not for a while, because where she lives, there's a target on her back. And I don't know whether you've been watching what's happened in Knoxville, but a large percentage of the DUI arrests have been found to be sober.
Yeah.
And they just settled a lawsuit on one of those.
Yeah. Right. And you're right about that. You're right about that, Joe. I mean, the target thing is a real thing. And I think that kind of like dovetails back to your original comment about, can she ever leave this gosh darn state, right?
I mean, Karen needs to be gone whenever she can leave. Kelsey be nice to be out of that state too.
It would be great.
Those are things that people don't take into account. But with a child and child custody, your hands are almost tied.
It makes it difficult. It really definitely does. Because, you know, so say you have your person, if we're just talking in general, not like Kelsey, and you have custody of your child in Massachusetts and you'd like to move, say you want to move to Florida, and the other parent objects to that and says, no, you know, you file a motion, you have to file a complaint with the court for removal of the child to another state. And you have to show that it's in the best interest of the child for that child to be removed to another state. And one of the big considerations the court's going to look at is the impact that the relationship it will have on the relationship between the child and the other parent, right? So it's easier in cases when there's less involvement from the other parent. So like,
the other parents in jail.
Yes, stuff like that. Like, it's like this other parent's really not involved. The child really only sees the parent, and we can work out, there's tons of ways we can work out, you know, the child comes up at summer vacations and kind of increase more of the parenting time. But you have to show, as the parent that wants to move, that you have a good faith reason for wanting to leave. And it usually is things like, you know, I got this great job offer and the child's life is going to, you know, improve tremendously because now I'm going to be working and making all this money, or I'm going to be moving closer to my family where I have more moral support. Like you see that in abuse cases sometimes, where like one parent's been abused by the other parent, they want to get out and they, you know, they don't have any network of support, and the network of support maybe lives in a different state. So they'll ask the court for permission to leave with the child so they can go be near their support network. And in those type of cases, you know, the court will, a lot of times I've done a lot of guardian ad litem work actually on that particular issue, where I have to investigate the reasons for the move, investigate, you know, whether it's appropriate, and then make a recommendation to the court of whether I feel it's in the best interest of the child to make that move with the parent. It doesn't matter if it's in the best interest of the parent. The court doesn't care about that. You know, it really comes down to, is it in the best interest of the child? Now, that doesn't mean the parent can't move. The court can't stop a person from moving, you know, but they can't move with the child. So there's that, you know, and so that it's not like it would be unconstitutional for the court to say, no, you can't go. You can go, but you can't bring your child with you. So obviously Kelsey would never do that ever, you know. So
we have breaking news here out of the donation world. A $630 donation came in. $630 donation came in because this individual, Linda, said, God bless Kelsey and Mazza for hosting this fundraiser. 6:30, June 30th, is the beginning of Kelsey taking back her voice. And in honor of that date, she donated $630. This now brings Kelsey's GiveSendGo over $197,000 right now. We're at $22.15 right now, already to over $2,000. And we're not even an hour into this thing. This is an amazing donation.
I have goosebumps. That is just so incredible. I'm just so proud of everybody that is involved in this, and what a great donation for $630, right? You know, to do 600. Hey, $6.30. I'd be that's a great one to put up there too, Maz. You know, if everybody in the chat right now can go and donate $6.30 for the 1-year anniversary of this nightmare that started for Kelsey. She's finally coming out on the other end, but that's really incredible. Thank you to whoever made that donation, and to anybody who's already donated tonight. Really, it is so appreciated. And it's interesting because, you know, I communicate a lot with the woman, and she might be watching now, hey, Meredith, who started the GiveSendGo, her and Gator Boy. They run the Facebook page. If you don't already subscribe to the Facebook page, I really recommend you go over there and follow the Justice for Kelsey Fitzsimmons page. There's a lot of good information on there. And when when this person first approached Kelsey about doing a GiveSendGo, Kelsey was like resistant about it. And she was just like, nobody's going to want to give any money to me. Nobody's going to want to donate anything. And, and the original goal was like, can we get $10,000? You know what I mean? And here we are in less than 1 year, because I'm not even sure when the GiveSendGo started, but it wasn't immediately, right? It was months after that. But so say in like 8 to 10 months, here we are at almost $200,000. Okay. Yeah. That is just, that is really amazing. I'm so proud to be part of this great community and group of people. And as much as it's been so horrific for Kelsey, I am grateful for the connections that I've made through participating in your fundraisers, Mark, and just people that have reached out to me, on X and whatnot. And I really appreciate everybody. I mean, it's such a smart group of people. I love it.
Wow. It's every time I come into these fundraisers, you just when you do fundraisers, you just never know, like, is this going to be like is this going to be one of the bigger ones? Is this going to be a medium one? Is this going to be a low? Like, you just never know going into each of them. When before we started the show tonight, a massive donation came in. I was like, well, that's great. We'll go no less than that tonight. That's great. And everything else will just add on top of that $1,000 base. For Kelsey, which is great. It's very rewarding to do these fundraisers. You're bringing in money for somebody to have a chance to fight for their life, and have an opportunity to see this woman has had to spend money to see her child, simply just see her child, which should be her humane right to do so, to simply just say, hey, I'm going to spend time with my child. A lot of other parents have that luxury, right? But for her, she has to spend money. This is, you think about people that go out and buy, a big expense, a new grill, a PlayStation, whatever it costs you, somewhere between $500 and $1,000. That's a lot of money, right? But it's something you buy every once so often, right? But for this is simply just to pay for the ability to see your child, which should be your legal right. I still don't fully get why she can't see her child half the time automatically, why she still even needs supervised visits, considering she's been acquitted, considering there's no pending charges against her or whatever. It's just very, very insane to me that Kelsey has to go through this. But again, just to everyone that's made a donation, whether it's been $1,000, $10, it doesn't really matter what the amount is, as much as the fact that people are donating and helping out Kelsey Fitzsimmons here tonight, once again, for the 18th time on the show. And over 20 times if you take Lauren Caidyn's fundraisers and the Glaire's additional fundraiser he did as well. This has been a great night. Thank you, guys.
Lori, from your experience, when can we realistically expect the supervised visits to go away?
Honestly, I don't quote me on this, but people will quote me on it anyway. So I can't. They're like, don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I really feel that we will see an elimination on the supervision before the end of the summer, before the GAL report comes out. Part of the issue is the court kind of goofed in getting the form out. Like anytime we do anything, you know what it is? It's just like all the red tape and all the paperwork. And the court is supposed to send out a fee generating appointment form to the supervisor that they had agreed to appoint, that the court had appointed. And that form didn't go out. And that form specifically would tell the supervisor, just like the GAL form that did go out that we did see, exactly what the court's looking for in the report of the supervisor. So the supervisor's been making the reports and taking the notes and submitting them to the court, but it might not have been the actual particular thing that maybe even the court was looking for. And they're looking for just some more of them, So I happen to know, just from communicating with Lauren and Will, and we see Will in the chat. Hey, Will. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Kelsey, she's probably watching too, that the visits are going fantastic. There's no issue with the visits. The reunification process is going very, very well. So I expect all of the reports from the supervisors to just be glowing and fantastic. It's just the court needs more of them. It's a reunification process, right? So she's got this connected, but she is now doing the Wednesday night visits as well. And those visits are supervised by maternal grandmother, by Lauren, by Kelsey's mom. So, so there isn't a paid supervisor for those visits, and those happen every single week now. So we've added that in. That's going well. So you'll see when they get to a point of like, okay, we have all these reports. There is a new supervisor now. The other supervisor, they found someone else because the other supervisor is very far away. So it made it difficult. And there were some issues with her missing some of the visits, no fault of her own, but she's just too far away. So there is another supervisor now. And, so she'll be needing to make reports to the court. Once the court feels like they've gotten enough information from the supervisor and the GAL investigation is underway, I feel we'll see that that supervisor be eliminated. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened, say, mid to late July, early August, where we might see maybe one of the days on the weekend being on. It's just everything's a process. They're going to just like start eliminating things and adding more time. So that's what's going to end up happening. And then eventually you're going to start seeing potential overnights, that kind of thing. They just want to make sure it's really not about Kelsey being unsafe, because she has always been a good mom, and she's always been a loving mom, and she's always been great. There's never been any allegation of abuse of this child by Kelsey.
Yeah.
It's more just making sure that he's comfortable with the situation, she's comfortable with the situation, and reintegrating him into her life fully. And that is going to happen. It's 100% going to happen, but it's a process. And unfortunately, how our courts are. They don't work that quickly, unfortunately. And honestly, from what my perspective is and what I see as a family court practitioner, because I did see someone make a really nasty comment about me in from the last one. I'm not saying, our courts are great, and I'm not here to protect our courts or anything like that. But it is a process. And Kelsey's case, because it gets so much attention, is almost being like streamlined and pushed forward quicker. I mean, I've had cases go on forever and ever. It's like, I'm not saying it's great, but you have to understand how busy these family courts are. Like, this is one case. There's like tons of these cases. Every single judge, like if I go in on a motion, that motion list might have 60 cases on the list that day. You know what I mean? Every day on a motion list. In just my county and just my town. So think about that. That's how much stuff is going on. So, you do the best you can to get through it. And it's unfortunate she's at this point, but it is going to just keep getting better and better, because Kelsey's getting better and better, and she's fine. You know what I mean? She's good to go. And she's proven that she's doing all the right things that she needs to do, and getting stronger, physically and mentally every single day. So.
Yeah. I know all about process. Maybe not in the court system, but
you've been through the court system.
Don't like the process. You have to go through it.
Exactly. And that's the only, you got to do it the right way. And it is frustrating, and it is expensive. So this is why we're here. Right. So, I mean, I love that idea of that person that donated $630, but I also like the idea of, it's a more doable thing, I would think, for most people. $6.30. I mean, go for it. It's a symbolic amount. And I think that would be great, and it all adds up. I mean, it all adds up. All of your donations over all this time have now added up to almost $200,000. Like that. Yeah. That blows my mind. And, thank you so much, Maza, because you are such a big part of all that, and the amount of time that you've donated to Kelsey and her cause. I mean, we wouldn't be here. She wouldn't be here. She wouldn't have been able to afford any of this. She lost her job. That's the other thing. She had her dream job. She loved her job. She loved being a police officer. She had started out as a correctional officer. She always wanted to be in law enforcement. She went through the whole police academy. She was doing great. She was at the police station that day when all this happened, getting her recertification on her CPR training. She loved being a police officer, and she lost that too. So
People underestimate how much that hurts. I mean, when I had to stop practicing 26 years ago, that was the hardest adjustment to make. It took me another 13 years before I decided, why am I paying $3,500 a year for continuing education if I'm not going to practice?
Yeah, it's hard to give up because you were an eye doctor, correct?
Yeah, because you just can't give it up because you think, well,
you work so hard for it.
I'm going to find a way to get back to work, but accepting the reality is always difficult, and losing a job it's harder than what most people really think of it being.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not just a loss of income, especially when it's something like that. I mean, and I'm not saying this in a demeaning way. I mean, like, if you're a clerk at Target, your job probably doesn't mean that much to you. It's probably, just a way to make a little extra money or a means to some other end of like going through school or whatever. Mm-hmm. But when you have a career like Kelsey had, where she was a correctional officer and then, went on to become a police officer, which is something she always wanted to do. And my understanding is she was great at it. Then it's a hard pill to swallow that you've now lost that, and like for you, Joe, with being an eye doctor, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort goes into it. It's done purposefully. You've picked that career for a reason, and you probably loved it, and I feel the same way as far as being an attorney. Like I know I'm getting, old and decrepit, and I probably should, stop, but I still really love the law, and I still really love dealing with people and dealing with clients. I really still really love it. And it would be to think that it would just be taken away from me. That hurts, Yeah.
Well, where is that judge? Speaking of that's in their 90s, and they got him suspended instead of dismissed because they don't want to suspend him because they still want to practice. I forget what state it's in.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear that. So a judge that's in his 90s and he still wants to keep doing it.
He wants to keep on practicing, and but yet she's not competent to practice. But they won't remove her, so she's basically been sitting in kind of a paid suspension for I don't know, a couple of years. It seems like. My memory.
I mean, there does come a point where it's like kind of like, and it's funny because my, a lot of my besties are lawyers that I practice with, and we kind of have a pact with each other that's like, I'm not going to say any names, but like we'll say, okay, did you see so-and-so in court today? And if I ever get like that, will you please make me stop? You know what I mean? Because there comes a point where like you don't want to be like, not even realizing that you're doing a horrible job for your client because you're just so clueless and you're confused, and to ruin a whole lifetimes of work because you didn't know when to stop. You didn't know when enough was enough. And certainly for like a career like mine, like I'm hurting my clients, like if you were still an eye doctor and you were like not competent to be doing it, you could be hurting people. Right. And obviously like doctors, you see that happen too. So at that point, I need to get the, the gong cane, like, you just need to pull me off the stage and bring me to the
I made that decision before I ever got my diploma. I saw doctors practicing. They had no business practicing.
Yeah.
And I promised myself if I couldn't practice at a high level, I wasn't going to practice. And that was a decision I made probably about 1982 or 83. Been a long time ago when I made that decision. But
I know. I mean, I think about that too.
We need people practicing that shouldn't be.
Yeah.
In all professions.
Yeah, for sure. And especially in a profession where you're actually hurting people, like where the people that you're supposed to be helping, you're hurting. And that's, that's not a good thing. But for the good news for us, Joe, is you're not busy working. So now you can give us all this great insight on X. And you always do such a great analysis on everything. I love reading everything that you put out. You're a great creator, on X. So if anybody doesn't already follow,
I just think that to retard the dementia from setting in. You got to keep your mind busy.
Absolutely, yes. I'm like that too. I just like to always be doing something, keeping busy and active and whatnot.
Definitely know that feeling. I work all the time, and then on the weekends it's like, oh, let's do a show, let's do a fundraiser, and it's been, like I said, it's been great doing these fundraisers. It's just, you do the fundraisers, and you don't think like, like I always said it before to people, like I don't really think about the impact it has. I'm just like, oh, we should do a fundraiser to help, and it's just, it was incredible. It was incredible meeting, Kelsey for the first time, in court. It was right after the closing arguments. I had met her, and she is, incredible person. She's very passionate about people that support her, and cares about her supporters, and that they care so much for her. That really means a lot to her, was something I really noticed right away. I mean, I'm just a stranger, me and her don't know each other. And just to see her just care so much for people caring for her was incredible. And I'm glad we were able to do what we did during that trial. And I'm glad, we're able to continue to do this. It's really too bad we have to, in a sense that you wish that everything was all set for her, and she didn't have to continue to have to raise money because these visitations, but at the same time, it's an honor to do that, because again, you're helping her, you're putting her again in a position to have her best opportunity to see her child. I just think that this woman had too much taken from her, and God forbid her life. She was fortunate to be alive. With any shooting incident, a bullet can go in any which direction, and that bullet location can have a varying outcome, from survival to critical condition to death. And again, this woman has fought for it, and it makes me sick when people call her a liar. And this is not blindly just saying, oh, well, she was shot, I'm going to take her aside and just be like, oh, whatever. No, this is about just looking at the facts, looking at the information, and even the judge could not even come to a decision where there was proof beyond reasonable doubt that Kelsey had did whatever she was accused of, and essentially wrote it off as basically being a incidental situation where basically Noonan made a massive mistake, many mistakes. Maybe if he had stayed put in that room, she would have never had that, that would have never come to where it came to. But at the end of the day, this officer overreacted to this situation, and maybe, just to open fire like that. I understand that things can happen, and an officer can in the moment be jolted to open fire. But again, I just felt like he wasn't as thorough, obviously, in his job. And if he had been, this could have been avoided. And it goes back to a few other things, which is securing the firearm first and foremost, which again is a reflection of this police department, beyond the officer alone. Well, I'm singling out Officer Noonan. Let's not forget that whole department messed up royally. And this was an absolute disgrace, quite frankly. So again, just a situation that makes me sick. I hate to see Kelsey go through, but I'm happy that she has a channel coming up, Case Notes Unfiltered, which premieres this Tuesday, June 30th, 1 year anniversary of the incident in her home. And she is going to be sitting down with her paralegal, Courtney Healy, and they are going to sit down for a one-on-one discussion exactly about what she's went through. And we played that video at the beginning of this stream tonight. And I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah.
It's going to be across all platforms. Substack, it's going to be on, and it's going to be on our YouTube channel. And Kelsey's really going to candidly, probably she sat down. I think she had one interview. Then she sat down with was on Turtle Boy's show with Tim Bradle.
Yeah.
And this is now going to be an exclusive sit-down interview with Courtney Healy, just to see them discuss it. Now, I'm not only interested in hearing Kelsey's story, but there's a very interesting dynamic to this. And that's the Courtney Healy factor, that Courtney Healy is just not any ordinary person here. This is someone that was on that legal team that had been hand in hand with Kelsey throughout all of this, as much as it might be argued during her time when she was in jail, as much as her own family, perhaps. Which is astronomical. But Courtney did an incredible job throughout all of this. And it's going to be very interesting to see the interactions, not only just Kelsey's story, not only just Courtney's perspective and how she worked with Kelsey and helped Kelsey through this and got Kelsey, to where she need, just any answers or things needed to be done. She helped her with that, but just the dynamic between the two, and also with Tim Bradel as well. It's going to be very intriguing to hear. This is going to be an incredible conversation. There's no question about it. But again, just having Courtney Healy as the interviewer in this particular, or maybe just a one-on-one conversation, is going to be very powerful to listen to. And I got to say, I'll probably do a breakdown of that interview about a week later, probably a week out. Maybe I'll do it the following next January 5th. I'll give it like a week or two, and I might sit down and go through it live on my channel. I'll let the thing age first. Age as in, it's on YouTube for a couple of days. It kind of, it takes a couple of days for a video to go through its process before it simmers. So I'll let the video be posted before I review it. But it's going to be
now that you made me a mod, Maza, I might tune in. I might,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I was almost just going to walk away from you. I was done with you.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's.
Well, how many have you blocked tonight? I haven't seen anything blocked yet.
Maybe I'll go to Block Island.
Yeah. But
Oh.
I mean, like with Karen Reed too, like she had to tell her own story over time, and Kelsey's getting that opportunity. And these individuals like Kelsey, like Karen, they don't really get to tell their full story. All you hear is accusation from Karen did this, Kelsey did that. They're accused of this, they're accused of that, right? And they don't really have that opportunity until after these trials are over to sit down. And Karen did do some interviews in between the trials, and even one of them. But, it's incredible just to see her get the opportunity, just like Karen has, and even Alan Jackson, who sat down with Turtle Boy for an interview, to have this opportunity to start to speak about her perspective, what she feels she's gone through. And this is a woman who's been hit on multiple fronts. This affected her job. These were her fellow police departments. Her job and her family/romantic life all converged on one single moment. This woman lost her job. Essentially, her job was impacted. Her relationship, fiance, that's all gone. And then seeing her child, all gone. This woman was robbed and pillaged that afternoon, that evening. And it's a sickening story. It really is. But
and all she was suffering from a mental health issue, a very common mental health issue in women who are postpartum, and so for her to have gone through all of that while she was basically being punished for having this mental health issue, and she's still being punished literally now. So it's heartbreaking. It really is. I can't wait to watch that podcast. I mean, that's the first I saw of that, Maza, the clip that you had. I mean, I've seen it, posted that they're going to be doing it. And I mean, it made me even more intrigued. I'm definitely going to be, I have my notification set for that. I'm definitely going to be watching that.
Yeah.
Now, will this be a one-time thing, or is this going to become a series of YouTube presentations? I was thinking back, Karen Reed was going to have this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Ironically, Kelsey is the first up with her.
Right. Because we're still waiting on Karen's. Yeah. You know what? That's a good question. I feel like she's probably going to be doing more than one, or maybe even has taped more than one. I don't think it's like a live thing. She's going to pre-tape them and drop them. But maybe Will can even, because I see that Will's still here in the comments. He probably knows the answer to that question of whether there's plans to release more or whether it's going to be a wait and see type of thing. But from what I heard, just with what Maza had shown at the opening, and I was like listening very, intently, because I haven't heard, I really wasn't sure what it was going to be and what the questions were going to be. But it sounds really interesting. I mean, like, if you want to hear somebody's interesting story, I mean, she's got that. She definitely has that. I don't know too many people that are going to be able to tell that story. So, and Courtney's great too. I mean, we can't underestimate everything that Courtney did and understate what she's done to help Kelsey, not only emotionally when she was going through everything that she went through in jail, but, to be so committed, with Tim to be doing all that she did at the trial. She is always all in 100%. And, Kelsey was lucky to have that team. And again, back to the fundraiser, because without this fundraiser, she couldn't have had that team. And without that team, God only knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
Would we have seen the removal of McCarthy Naaman? No, probably not. She probably would have heard the whole case.
Yeah. It makes me sick, and I apologize for cutting into the show with these kind of this kind of remark I'm going to make, but I'm absolutely disgusted by a few of the popular anti-Karen Read individuals that have appeared on Kelsey Fitzsimmons' Facebook page and decided to make disparaging remarks about her and accuse her essentially of being guilty of this. It makes me sick because these individuals have it's called turtle boy derangement syndrome. It's where basically when you see a turtle, you become deranged and then you start to act out. And then what you start to do is you start to think, because if Aiden thinks Karen Read's innocent, then you have to think Karen Read's guilty. So naturally, if Caidyn thinks that Kelsey's innocent and Tim Bradle represents Kelsey, all of a sudden these same people now have to appear in Kelsey Fitzsimmons' story and start to make horrible comments to them. I'm not one for swearing, but I have 3 initials. The first initial is G, the second initial is F, and the third initial is Y. And those are my 3 initials for those individuals that have anything negative to say about Kelsey Fitzsimmons. And this appears to be the first episode of a series that appears, or potentially future episodes. And that full first episode will be streamed on all platforms and premieres June 30th at 5:15 p.m. on YouTube and on Substack. And this is going to be, again, a great interview. And we're not going to let these people drag Kelsey down and say horrible remarks. And again, these people, they think they know everything. They're wrong. Look, there's been 3 trials between Karen and Kelsey. And basically, Karen and Kelsey have walked out of all these things. With that said, we have another attorney joining us for the first time ever. Ladies and gentlemen, the man in the sunglasses, Nick Rekieta.
The man of legends.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Good to see you. We're echoing?
Yep, that's my fault. Hold on, I'll fix it. There we go. My bad.
I thought we were being visited by God.
You were. Not me, to be importantly clear, before I get struck down. But you were being visited by God.
Yep. That's funny.
He comes in and apologizes before I show up.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate you supporting Kelsey. And how did you first hear about Kelsey?
Oh, I watched her trial.
Oh, cool.
I don't remember how I heard about it, but people were like, you should watch this because the cop shot this other cop and then they charged the shot cop with attempted murder. I was like, well, that's cool. Like that doesn't sound right at all. And so then I started watching the trial unfold, and it was a rolling catastrophe for the state, which always makes you feel good. And mostly because they had such severe credibility problems on the guy who I can't remember his name, but the guy who shot Kelsey was like
Noonan.
No, like she definitely tried to kill me, I think.
I think the words he used in trial, she tried to murder me, didn't she? Isn't that what he said? He tried to murder me.
Yeah.
Yep. It was
that whack job.
Yeah, the whack job. And then he's like talking to his neighbor. He's like, hey, this crazy, insane woman that you keep seeing like that? I shot her. He's like,
he was proud of it.
These people at all. They're awful.
That's great. Nick, you missed the pep rally on the front steps of the courthouse that day with all the police officers out there.
Yeah, I didn't miss that.
Yeah.
Man, bumping hands, hugging, and
they're like nice grouping.
Yeah.
But no,
definitely was an intimidation thing.
Yeah.
Well, and I tell you what, since Nick's here, I wanted to hang on long enough to see Nick come on here. I've never been on the same stage with him. I've seen him on his
either.
show. But I'm pretty tired, and I still got 2 or 3 hours of work tonight before I leave out of here at 4:30 in the morning for Vanderbilt. So it's I got some things I got to get done, so I'm going to bow out early tonight.
All right, Joe, get some rest. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me, Master, and get that 5,000, and we're almost halfway there. So
pleasure meeting you, Joe. Have a good night.
You all have a good night.
Take care, Joe.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you, KY Maverick. All right.
Awesome. Now that we have Nick here, though, maybe we can, start like really, looking for donations. I mean, the legend's here. Can we we're really hoping to hit 200K tonight, Nick.
Well, I noticed that the start, it looked like that was an acceptable target to 200,000. I'm hoping the audience will show us that we're idiots and help out with that and actually shatter it. That would be great. Look, Kelsey's plight is something that is unique amongst people. It's one of those situations on the fringes of humanity, something you hear about, you read about, but you don't experience, thank God. But to have the full weight of law enforcement come down on you, and then the double whammy of that law enforcement being your friends and coworkers, and to realize that these people were okay with you being, that might not have been their plan, but they were okay with you being shot, almost killed, because their plan was equally evil. Their plan was to allow her ex-boyfriend, ex-fiance, to allow him to execute this ultimate betrayal going into this, that this was part of that scheme where he is, for some reason, accompanying police on a search to a home. And he's not a police officer, but he utilizes that time to go in and remove items and to do whatever he was going to do while on the property. Things that are not allowed during searches. I don't know how many of you have had your house searched. I've had mine searched, and they don't let you in to change stuff. That's not a real thing that happens. And so to see all that unfold, to watch it on video unfold, and to watch cops sit there and straight face try and tell the world that this was all just fine and normal was crazy sauce.
Yeah.
And the fact that it ended up with her losing her child to this monstrous scheme is appalling.
Yeah.
100%.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's insane at every level. It's insane at just these officers. What bothered me too was that every single officer in that department seemingly, I want to stress the word seemingly, took support of Noonan. I still am convinced one of them actually had.
Go ahead. Sorry, I have a habit of interrupting.
That's okay. I'm so convinced at least one of them had some remorse about this, and actually it was probably Team Kelsey, but just didn't want to do it because of, again, the pack mentality at the police department.
Yeah, who do you go against? The people that you're going to be working with who can also ruin your life. They can ruin everything that you have in a moment.
Right.
Or are you going to go against Kelsey, the now disgraced, I don't think she's disgraced, by the way, but just the mentality that they had, the now disgraced officer who is, who is crazy, who attempted to murder one of their coworkers and all this stuff, which we all know that that's cuckoo. Like, that didn't happen, but that's the narrative. And who are you going to side with? The side that can control the rest of your life, or the side that's a helpless woman, like who they almost killed and had no problem doing it.
And not to mention every single one of them that came that day to serve that restraining order conducted themselves improperly. So who are they going to, agree with. Like they all made mistakes. Noonan did the shooting, but they all made mistakes. The first thing that they should have done before they did anything else was secure the firearms, because guess what? That was in the restraining order for them to do. So you go, I mean, that wouldn't that be the normal procedure? Wouldn't that be the first thing that you went and did? But no, they didn't do that. They conducted themselves all improperly. So when this actually happened, there was I think a real oh shit moment. Oh shit, we gotta fix this. We gotta make this narrative up. And then it all just, went downhill from there for Kelsey, obviously.
Yep. And they should have, exactly what you said, they should have secured the firearms. And if people don't know this, because not everybody has restraining orders served on them or gets restraining orders against other people. But when you get a restraining order, there's a law enforcement form that you fill out, and you give them as much information as you can about the condition that the police are going to be likely serving this upon. It's one thing to serve, a banker who's working a 9 to 5 at a bank. They're going to go in at 3 o'clock. They're going to be like, okay, you got these papers. We don't want to make a big deal out of it. And then he's going to go on his way. And it's another thing to serve Enrique, the local meth dealer, right? That's a different guy. And he might have a bunch of guns and they might know it, or he might have knives, or he might have people around him that are very, very dangerous. And if you don't tell them about this, cops go in blind. But these are all experienced officers. And, her fiance is the fiance of a police officer. And you would presume that he would think to write down on that law enforcement form, yes, here are the guns on the property. Here are the different ones. And when they go through and they secure the guns, they need to inventory each individual firearm and check it against the list. And his list is probably pretty accurate. And because, they're domestic partners and they live together. And so he would know what's there. Whereas in other cases, you might be like, that guy's got a whole bunch of guns. I don't know what he has. But they should have known that, and they should have been inventorying that. And for them to leave a gun, again, it almost feels intentional.
Right. That's a fantastic point, Nick. And I don't know that we've ever really brought that up before, because obviously her coworkers knew she had guns on the premises. And I, in the affidavit that her ex-fiance had filed, he definitely said that. But wouldn't your question to him be, before you even go there, where are the guns? Where are they in the house? So they would already know that before they go there. So instead, Kelsey admits that she lied to them and she told them the guns were in the basement. But if they actually had done the questioning properly and looked at the most important things rather than some of the other things they were concerning themselves with, where are the weapons?
Where are all your financial records?
Right. None of this would have happened. I mean, none of it would have happened. She would have ended up going and having her hearing on the restraining order, the 2-party hearing, all that would happen. But instead she got freaking shot because, they didn't do the first basic thing. So of course, all of these guys are they're coming up with a story, right? I mean, they're going to come up with a story that supports each other, because they're all, even though this one guy that did the shooting, they're all of their careers are kind of on the line. All of their necks are on the line with it.
The crazy thing is, the best scenario is that they're supporting someone who is so grotesquely incompetent that he shot another police officer just because he got spooked.
Yes.
That's the best case for Noonan. Noonan sucks.
Yeah. and the smart thing to do would have been more so I can't even say I do fault him, but I mean, even if you were to say it's a justified shoot because she did pull a weapon, and we all know that it's about where she pointed it and what was going on. So,
Absolutely.
When you're a police officer, and I support the police, I'm not an anti-police person. But when you're a police officer, you're making a literal split-second decision about your life and whether or not you have a legitimate fear of being harmed or killed or whatever. Right. So he probably could have overcome that burden. The problem became not that they didn't charge Noonan or that they didn't have any kind of disciplinary action against Noonan, but they turned around and then charged Kelsey. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to charge Kelsey.
It could have just been really unfortunate Like that's how a lot of crimes in the United States aren't really crimes. They do lack that mens rea. They lack the intentionality. And Noonan, if we give him the benefit of the doubt, Noonan probably lacked the intentionality to kill Kelsey. He's reacting to this gun. And we may think that he reacted inappropriately or his training was bad. Sure. But did he manifest a desire to murder her is a whole, that gets really complicated. And I don't know that he did. And I'm not willing to say that. But we have tons of potentially criminal acts that happen every single minute in America. And we go, yeah, I don't think this situation just kind of sucks. And we can break up this fight, or we can address this accident or whatever, and we can move on with life rather than enmeshing people in this fight. But at every step of the way, they kept going after her. And you're like, this woman's lying in a hospital because she was shot by her coworker. And you're going to, as soon as she's healed, you're going to bring her into a courtroom and try and take her life away. That's kind of nutty when you think about it.
Yeah.
But that's what bothered me so much about this case from start to finish is every moment of this points towards either more and more incompetent cops or more and more nefarious cops. And sometimes that line is hard to distinguish between. But either way, the practical effect on Kelsey is having her life ruined and her child taken in a moment. Right. And now we're here to get her back. We're here, get him back. Get him back to her. Get the baby back to mom. We've seen enough about her former fiance, about his interactions with the baby, or rather non-interactions, about his attitude towards the baby. And it's very simple. All of this possession, this transfer of custody, all of this seems to be to shield what happened and try to justify it on the back end. But the reality is baby belongs with mom.
Yep.
Dad manifested a lack of desire for the baby. So let's just honor that and bring the baby back. And she can't do it without y'all's help out in the audience. Our help too. I mean, I'm going to donate. I hope some people will join me in that. I'm going to try and get some more people in here first. And then we'll do a big donation push, but let's let's try and maximize the amount of people who can be twisted into giving money to this woman who really needs it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. The dynamics of all of this, Nick, is the fact that we were talking earlier, her job aspect, where she's a cop, these are her fellow cops. Then there's the fact that this is a man on the other side, it's her fiance. And now all of a sudden she's seeing her job, her career, and her family / romance life, her husband to be, and all of this in a single moment, in a single afternoon, all comes crashing down on her in the worst way absolutely possible. And don't you think that this is going to be one of the most sickening stories to ever see somebody go through in their lives, short of this ending in a murder?
Yeah, and it almost did. And but the whole thing is it seems like they had a scuffle or a fight. I don't mean to use any word that implies anything beyond they had a dispute between intimate partners. So they had a scuffle or a fight of some sort. Something was going on. But just because you have a scuffle or a fight with your significant other, you don't expect to come home and have your house raided and your life taken away from you.
Right.
Yeah.
And to have all that happen, I don't know if people have any trouble. I hope not. But if they have any trouble believing that she had a justifiable mental collapse, as every peel on the banana is just taken right there in front of her in a matter of minutes. Like imagine everything you work for being stripped away from you live. Oh, and you might get arrested. and you have a restraining order, and now you're getting shot. Yeah. It's an impossible scenario. Impossible. Yeah. It's amazing that she survived it, in all honesty.
Yeah. Right. This comment here too. Go ahead, Lori, go ahead.
No, I was going to comment on the comment, Mazza. Go ahead.
No, you go right ahead.
Noonan was never drug tested. Noonan was not even interviewed. Noonan is the police officer, Nick, that
Yep.
shot Kelsey.
Yep.
Not only was he not drug tested, he wasn't interviewed for a few days after the incident. Like they didn't even interview him. And then when they did interview him, they didn't even have the camera on him. They had the police body cam during the interview, and they put it on the table, and it just showed the interviewer. Have you ever seen? And it's
really important. Yeah, it's really important to know how the interviewer was reacting to their own questions.
Their body language. You definitely want to see the interview. It was so weird. So you had the interviewer, and then like literally 2 empty chairs next to him, and then this like voice, like, you know, Charlie Brown's teacher, and it's Noonan in the background who isn't even on the camera. It was really, really strange. So no, he wasn't drug tested. He was interviewed a few days later, and during that interview, interestingly, he was told, you know, he was telling the story of why they were there and what they were going to do, and they were going to serve this restraining order. He was told that he said in the interview, I don't know if he was told this, but he said in the interview that his intent was, and he was told that he was going there with these other officers to serve the restraining order and then to section Kelsey, to section her. That was never the plan. There was no court order to have her sectioned. It didn't exist. So think about what his mindset was going into all of this. It was incorrect, completely wrong. She wasn't being sectioned. Just to think that shot her that.
And the hard thing about this is we can never be in the mind of Noonan. Not that I think that there's much there to enjoy, but we can never be in his mind. We can never know if him going there to section her is, I need to set up the situation in which I will justify this thing. Because like you said, there isn't a court order. There's nothing requiring this to section her, to basically an involuntary hold. There's nothing to do any of that unless she acts erratically or is a danger to herself or others.
Right.
And suddenly she's got a gun upstairs alone with another officer with no other witnesses, no backup, nothing. He's just trolling around the house with her. No big deal. And all of a sudden you've got a shooting that's occurred. And one of the really crazy things was, if I remember at trial, you know, the allegation was that he was responding to her firing her weapon, or something. But then, you know, the testimony from the neutral person who was the witness who heard, she said, all I heard was pop, pop. It was the 2 shots on coming back at Kelsey. That's what happened. But that wasn't the story that Noonan told. And that was the problem, of course, with the whole thing. It's like, this story isn't matching what seems to have occurred.
Right. Because also she was only feet away from him, and he says she fired the weapon and it misfired, and then it's like, and all anybody heard him say was, Kelsey, don't do it, not drop the gun, not, you know, none of that stuff. And
now I have all kinds of jokes about both police and women and their marksmanship, but we're talking, when you analyze what happened, there's no joking about it.
No.
You're talking about someone allegedly pointing a gun and pulling a trigger and missing a shot from feet away. The gun is almost touching Noonan, if this narrative is to be believed. I think he's 6 feet away, something like that.
Very close. According to what he said, she said he left the room, and actually her story makes so much more sense. Honestly, he turned around and then she went and because she would have had to do this all gymnastic maneuver to get to where this box was.
And he would have had to not see any of it.
Yeah, he would have had to not see any of it, but he somehow, it made absolutely no sense the way the story was told by him. And then when Kelsey testified, and she did a great job testifying, it made a lot more sense the way she was putting it, that he left the room. He was going down the stairs a bit to see what was going on down there. I think Kelsey's mom had come in or whatever. And then he went back in the room And at that point, she already had the gun to her head. He claims she, did this flipping maneuver, this ninja Lara Croft thing. And she
Trinity from the Matrix,
Good job. I hope you put on your short shorts first. But no, and when you look at when they got into the testimony about this and they're kind of painting the visual picture, and one of the difficult things about trial is like, you're like, oh, well, why don't you just show pictures and stuff? And it's like, that's not pictures, like, or schematics or whatever are not how things happen. So they're not as helpful as people think. But when we start hearing the story and you hear that he's within 10 feet of her, and I seem to remember somewhere around 6 feet. And when you have a gun out like this, you've just knocked out 2 more feet. We're talking, they're breathing on each other at this point. And she misses a shot. Come on. And she misses her own head too. Like, if you want to go with that, like, it's like how
a comedy of errors occurred. Yeah.
Right. And there are ways, but there wasn't a scuffle. There wasn't anything that seemed to be impairing her ability to pull a trigger or point a gun. And so, we didn't get any testimony about that. We just have this miraculous event where a trained officer becomes the most incapable person on the entire planet. And then the other trained officer is like, whoa, she's doing really bad at this. I should shoot her.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing is, to the point of the commenter about him not being drug tested, there's a reason for that comment. And it's because he actually was put on, a paid administrative leave for testing positive for like muscle relaxers or something like that. What was that story, Maz, or something like that? So it's like there's some
he overslept. Yeah.
He overslept for a shift, and he claims he took muscle relaxers and he didn't make it in, and yet he's still out doing overtime. You're not supposed to be able to do overtime when you're on paid administrative leave. Like, what's going on here? And so there's a lot of crazy stuff, but yeah, I mean, and again, like what we saw in Karen Reed, another real shoddy investigation of something so important, because meanwhile, there was like a really good chance that Kelsey was not going to survive from this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to do such a shitty investigation, it wasn't like she was just, shot in the arm and it grazed her or something like that. The woman was fighting for her life. She almost died. She spent 53 in the hospital.
Noonan executed the shot expertly. Center mass. Yep. I believe he struck vital organs. Like, if that bullet goes an inch or two in a different direction, it clips an artery and you're done in 90 seconds. Your life is over. And that's the thing with these types of cases, is if they can divorce themselves from their own humanity, that problem solves itself. And Kelsey Fitzsimmons, may not have been Noonan's intent to go into that situation, but that problem solves itself immediately with that gunshot, or it was supposed to, except the hardest part is she woke up. If she doesn't wake up, remember, Noonan doesn't get charged. No one hears about this story at all. I mean, it gets a byline, probably a couple national news stories like police officer accident, one officer shoots another, she was crazy, she's about to be taken away, violence against her boyfriend has been reported. All of those things come out with no counter narrative when you're in a body bag. And that was, again, whatever Noonan's intentions, this was the solution.
Yep, exactly. And you see the video of them after the fact, when Kelsey had been taken away. And you see him with, was it Daly, Maza? Was it with Lieutenant Daly at that point? You had Noonan and Daly and Houston, but they were talking on the porch. And I think it was Daly and Noonan at that point.
Yeah, it was Daly and Noonan. Noonan was up against the thing like that. Yeah.
Right. And those were the three that served the restraining order. And Daly, Noonan, and Houston. But it was Daly and Noonan. I honestly think Houston really wishes he wasn't part of any of it at this point. But,
yes.
That's the one that I think really is conflicted with it.
Yes.
But they just had this oh shit look on their faces on that porch. Like, they didn't know they were being recorded. First of all, okay,
we really effed up. Was their reaction? We really
Why are
effed up. Yeah.
Why are they talking?
Yes. And they had this look of like, what are we going to do? What are we going to say? How are we going to fix this? How are we going to make, because none of it made sense. You didn't do anything the right way. You did it all wrong. And honestly, I think the best way that they could have taken care of it was to just not charge Kelsey. Just don't charge. I mean, at that point, she was fighting for her life. They came out and they did a press conference. That's the first thing I saw. I saw the press conference on Melanie Little's show. And they did a press conference like the next day. And the whole press conference was all about, what a justified shoot it was and things like that. Not once did they even really say, we're fighting. We have this other officer fighting for her life, and we're thoughts and prayers or none of that shit. They didn't come out with any of that stuff. They were just like, it was like CYA right from the very beginning and right from the first press conference. And I was really upset by the fact that they didn't act like they gave a shit about one of their officers who was like literally like fighting for her life at that point. But really the best solution would have been, well, for them, the best solution would have been she didn't make it, because, whatever, like you said, Nick, they could have just continued with their own narrative and made up all the stories, and none of it would have mattered, because eventually people would have just forgotten all about it. But they underestimated Kelsey's strength, because Kelsey is one strong MFer, and she got through that and fought through that and has fought through every single thing that they've thrown at her, and has come out on the other side almost 1 year later, and didn't let any of it break her. But they could have gotten themselves out of all of this by just not charging her. It would not have been the end of the world if they just didn't charge her. It doesn't mean they have to charge him. They just didn't need to charge her.
I think the problem, I think the problem for them is that I agree with you that they wouldn't ever have to charge this out. But the moment she wakes up, she's going to go, what the hell happened to that guy that shot me?
Well, she did. Right? That's exactly what she said. She was like, why? Well, what happened was when she did finally they actually came and they charged her.
Yep.
Put shackles on her in her hospital bed and charged her right there. And she was so confused, because she's like, I'm being charged for trying to kill myself. Like literally that was what she literally said those words.
Right. And without charging her, eventually there are questions as to why Noonan isn't charged. You have an officer involved shooting, like what's going on? And those questions start with Kelsey waking up and having them. And so I think that it was short-sighted of them, but I think it is their reaction going, we need something, because we have a cop who was shot. And unlike in Canton, Massachusetts, they're like, where they don't care if cops are dead. They're like, we have a cop who was shot. Something has to happen. We can't have this happen in our community. And so it's got to be one of those two has to be charged. It's either her or Noonan. And by charging her, they absolve Noonan of responsibility, even though by all accounts, at best, he's negligent to the point of discharging a firearm into a fellow officer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like I said, I mean, in terms of like, his ability
level of just like,
go ahead, Mazza.
Oh yeah, just this video here, you just see their reaction here. It just seems like it's a cluster, and they know it's a cluster. You know what I mean? They just look at them. Look at Daly. Yeah.
This is right after. This is right after the shooting.
Santa Claus on his summer job.
Yeah, but look at the finger tap. Like we think we're a little bit trigger happy.
There's that, and oh shit, what are we gonna do? Like, what are we gonna do?
Right. It's like, oh no, this is not good. This is not good. They're thinking,
And Noonan is like, what are we gonna do? This is a we thing, and in reality, whatever the reality of the shot, obviously coming from him. Why are you guys here doing this in this way? Also, I hate her fiance, but his heroic dive out of the property after the gunshot was pretty funny.
I know. We got a lot of
It was
donations
hilarious.
off that video.
We
Actually,
had quite a few laughs on this show. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like, I mean, like that was impressive. How'd you do that?
You want him showing up to your house if it's on fire, right, Nick?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this guy's going to lead the way. I know how to get out now.
Exactly right. He'll trip all the way home. Jesus, that was crazy. That was nuts.
It's been almost 15 minutes since the last donation. Just want to see if anybody else out there could make a donation here and keep this moving along for us. We'd appreciate that. It's about 15 minutes since the last donation. Thank you, everyone, for your donations so far tonight.
I know some of you guys are new since I joined, and if it's been 15 minutes since the last donation, that means some of you freeloaders are out here thinking you can just watch this show and talk about it and be like, yeah, this is cool. But listen, this is about giving. This isn't about someone deserving. This isn't about earning. This isn't about someone making their bread. This is about giving to something and someone that is in an impossible situation. It's impossible. You could never imagine waking up and having this be your day. And Kelsey will have to fight for the rest of her life because this story will be there. The story of her potential alleged mental health issues will be there. You know, imagine if you have a breakdown one day and then someone, an ex-fiance, and then an entire police department try to pin that mental breakdown of your worst moment as an ongoing chronic issue. And that becomes national news, that the full weight of government is out there and they're so desperate to cover their own asses that they will take your child and tell the whole world that you are chronically ill, that you are chronically crazy. That's what she's fighting against. None of us can picture that. You may have gone through a terrible, unique situation, but it is unique, and so is this one. And there is nothing but money that can help. And so, like, if you've got $5, $10, throw it her way. I'm making my donation right now. So help me out. Make some donations with me. I never ask people to donate to a cause that I'm not willing to donate to. So I'm doing mine. Absolutely. And I think Kelsey absolutely deserves our help.
Absolutely. Well said, Nick. Thank you so much for that. I'm putting in my donation right now as well. $50 tonight. $50 donation coming in from Mazza Media.
I did mine before the show, and I agree with you, Nick. I always support. I'm going to come on and ask people to donate. Then you know what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I definitely do it too. And just because I said it earlier, and now Nick's here, and I think there's a lot of people here that just love Nick, and I love Nick too. I always follow your stuff, Nick. I watch your stuff on YouTube. I'm so grateful to meet you tonight, and privileged to be sharing this little stage with you. But I just want to, basically say to everybody, the reason why we're still raising money for Kelsey, and I said this in the beginning, but even though she, she was found not guilty, she's done with that trial. But it was the trial from hell. I mean, what she had to go through for all of that case, 2 Supreme Judicial Court appeals within the criminal matter before it even went to trial, all of the nonsense that was thrown at her during that from a literally insane judge that had some vendetta issue with Kelsey, having her locked up. And then now she has this family court case going on, which, I practice primarily in the family court. We're expensive. We're super expensive, and she's been paying that multiple motions. The thing about family court is it's not just like a one and done. You're constantly going back. You're going back. You're going back. You're going back. I mean, her attorney's been to court so many times. It's like, I can't even count them anymore. And there's still court dates and there's no end in sight. And now we've got a guardian ad litem appointed, and she also is paying for supervised visits. And those visits have been running her, if she has a weekend visit, it runs her about $3,000 per weekend.
That's
so
crazy.
It's insane.
Crazy.
It's insane. So she couldn't, as much as she wants to have this reunification with her son, she couldn't do it without our help. She can't even be doing that without our help, because guess what? She doesn't have a job. She's not on paid administrative leave. You know, she was let go from the police department, whereas, you know, her ex-fiance, he's on paid administrative leave from his job. We're not really sure why. I can't really say why or whatever, but he's getting paid. He's still getting a paycheck every single week. Kelsey is not getting paycheck. She's doing a lot of things to try to help herself. This podcast that she's starting, coming out June 30th, Nick, if you can promote that, that'd be great too. She's got that, and she's got her Substack with her writings, and she's trying to do those kind of things. But I also see a lot of nasty comments, you know, from the freaking trolls out there, like, oh, why doesn't Kelsey go get a job? Okay, like, Kelsey's been through a lot. Right? Kelsey's been through a freaking lot. Hey, Will. And she, it's, you know, what do you think? She's just going to she's going to get a job at Target and like make minimum wage. Like, how is that going to help her situation at this point? She's just doing everything she can to try to get her son back. And I, for one, for a person who's been through so much, to have no problem helping her over this hump, you know, and you've all done it. To anybody who's ever donated to one of her fundraisers, thank you so much. It's so appreciated. And Kelsey appreciates it. Her family appreciates it. They tell me all the time how grateful they are, how amazed they are that people are still donating. They're blown away by the support. So it's not unnoticed. So thank you so much, everybody. And thank you, Nick, for giving us your time. Even it's fantastic.
A lot of donations.
My pleasure. I immediately felt sympathy for Kelsey, and you know, you can't identify with the story, but you can identify with the fear, you can identify with the loss, and you can identify with the struggle and the fight. We've all had our fears, losses, and struggles and fights. Some of them are smaller. Some of them, like, you ran out of pepper. Oh man! But like other times, you have had government coming after you, or you've had a crazy person stalking you, or whatever it is, and you spend time lost, and all you want in this whole world is someone to throw you a lifeline and say, just give me the chance to tell my side of the story, to show the world who I actually am, rather than to let my almost murderers tell the story. Mm-hmm. And it's wild. It's wild to think that not only are her coworkers, or one in particular, responsible for her almost death, but they got to tell the story about it while she wasn't even conscious. They got to start and plant the seeds of their correctness and her wrongness. And it took a public trial to get past that, to exonerate her. But it doesn't solve her problems. It's the start. It's the first hump on the mountain.
Mm-hmm. And to her, it wasn't even the most important one. The reunification with her child has always been her primary focus, as it is with, you know, I don't know, most moms. I don't mean to sound sexist, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, this is a mom who was like still breastfeeding her child. Okay. And
unfathomable to us as men. Like, we cannot picture that bond. It's something that is for mothers.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that, Nick, because I don't diminish the role and importance of dads. Dads are super important too. But when you've carried this child in your womb for 9 months, you already have that connection. Like, the connection's already there before the child even comes out. I mean, it's a physical bond, and it's primitive, and there's a reason for it. You know, it's about trust. It's about everything. And so not only was that taken away from Kelsey, but it was taken away from her baby too. And that's really, really important to remember.
And she's so young.
So young.
You know, that's the other thing. Like you said, people are like, oh, just go out and get a job. It's like, first of all, this was her first attempt at a career. She hasn't gone through being 37 and depressed yet and like having to restart or whatever. This is her first shot, and she put her whole self into it, and she got it. She did it. She started down the path of achieving her goals and her dreams. I want to serve my community. I want to serve the people around me. I want to protect those that I care about. And I want to protect those who will never even know my name. That's what she was doing. It's not like she was doing something awful. She's doing something noble. And yet, once you have that stripped away from you, and under the circumstances that she's in, and the national controversy that would come up from anyone in law enforcement hiring her, go get another job doing what? Like all of her education, all of her training, all of her focus was on this career, and it was taken away in a way that you would never fathom. And so now she has to, it's going to take time for her to start over. It's going to, that reset button's a long press. This is an old Nintendo, you know, like it's going to take a minute to boot back up and for her to put a new cartridge in. This is a weird mixed metaphor, but, but it's going to take a minute.
It's actually, it's fitting, you know, cause it's true. And she, like, let's be real, people. I mean, we're not even at the 1 year mark. I don't know how many of you could be like shot in the chest fighting for your life, go to jail for literally 138 days, go through a criminal trial, and it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to start applying for jobs now. I mean, come on now.
And speaking from a completely different, but some sort of comparable experience on the, when someone else presses your reset button, you are not ready for it. It's not just a matter of like, oh, get up and find a job. It's a matter of, are you worth getting up and finding a job? Everything about her was turned on its head by the authority, and the people around her and the people who around the world believe the authority automatically. She has to fight uphill against that. Or a lot of people don't fight, like they can't, they lay down, and some people just kind of pass on, like not necessarily die, but they just pass on into the background of the world. They get forgotten because it was told to everybody that they were worthless, and then they believed it. You know, Kelsey, up until winning her trial, was a criminal. She was a criminal, attempted cop murderer. Like, there isn't a reset button that goes back into law enforcement. The reset button is a long, arduous path. And I can tell you, it's a hard one when everyone hates you, when everyone thinks that you're the worst person for a little bit. You may not make it through. And I'm really glad that she has so far, but she needs more support. She's got a long ways to go.
She definitely does.
Announcement here, big announcements, 2 announcements here on the show, totals here. Over 3,000 has now been raised for the night. And Kelsey's GiveSendGo has now surpassed $198,000. We have surpassed 195, 196, 197, and now 198,000. We're $2,000 away from getting Kelsey to $200,000. And as promised, an exclusive picture from Kelsey herself of
okay, cool,
her wonderful dog Maverick. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. As promised.
Aw, Mav. He's so cute. I just want to boop it. I want to boop it. Boop, boop.
Yep. That's great.
He's definitely boopable. No, that's great. Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for anybody that donated tonight and has donated in the past. Thank you so much. Kelsey, 100% would not be here. She would not be in the spot she's in without this GiveSendGo. I am telling you 100% that is the truth. I mean, when you look back at everything that she's gone through in terms of her legal fees and everything else over the past, not even whole year yet. And as an attorney, and Nick's an attorney too, we know how much we cost. It's a lot. It's a lot.
No one can afford it. No one can afford it.
Like you get not something like this huge that had so much time going into it. It's unbelievable to think of how a person would be able to just afford it, especially when you don't have a job, or like when you've now lost your support and your income. She had to sell her house and use her house for legal fees too. And part of her house funds are actually being held in escrow by Justin's attorney for legal fees at this point too, which I'm sure makes you really happy, Nick.
That guy needs to be beaten with the backhand knuckles. He sucks.
Crazy.
But there is no way. If you know someone who's been in a major legal issue, I don't mean they went through, I went through a routine divorce and we fought a little bit. No, I meant you go through a legal issue. It's $250,000. Like, do you have that in your bank? Not in your, I can maybe get it. Not, I can get a loan to maybe get $250,000 to buy a house or something. Do you have that in your bank?
Right.
Because if you don't,
secure your freedom, Jesus,
if you don't even get to enter the fight at all. And it's impossible. As someone who's been enmeshed in legal issues, it is an impossible amount. Your income isn't big enough. Your bank account isn't big enough. The people who can comfortably field a lawsuit in cash, those people are the top 0.1% of income earners. Everybody else, even wealthy people, will bristle really fast. Like, because that could be like a cabin that you buy or a boat.
Yeah.
that could be something your your college education. Nope. Sorry. It has to go to some guy named Terrence. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's the difference between just doing, and I'm not faulting public defenders, like they're great, but like they don't have the caseloads are too big and they're not putting the time in. They're not doing the things they have to do because they just don't have the time.
You have 280 files on your desk.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you going to do?
Looking for the plea. And Nick, I don't know if you know this, but this was revealed, I want to say, when Kelsey was interviewed by Turtle Boy, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Maza, when Kelsey went on with Turtle Boy and had her lawyer Tim Bradle on with her, that all that they put her through, that they told Tim at the time of the trial that even if it was a guilty verdict, they weren't going to look for jail time after all that shit. After all that shit they put her through. Supposedly she was originally charged with an attempted murder of a police officer. And then that got downgraded to like assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. They put her through all of this stuff, put her in jail. She went to jail. Do you know people that like have committed very serious crimes that get out on bail and are not in jail?
Right.
I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say it. Okay? I of course not be watching to see what happened.
I of course don't think that my it's not that I don't think my crime was serious, but my crime didn't have victims. This is something that I did in my house to me. Me and the people who were doing it with me, we were the victims of our own choices, and that's fine. But the state of Minnesota thinks that that's a very serious crime. It would be much less of a crime if I walked into a library and punched someone in the mouth. And that's crazy to me, but that's how it is. And you're right. There are people out there who have serious crimes, who have avoided any appreciable jail time, self included. And then you watch her and you're like, wait, you guys weren't even going for jail time at the end, but she spent how many days in jail?
138.
People don't even realize how eternal that is.
Right. Yes. Think about it. When your kids go to school, they have 180 school days. It's almost like a whole school year. She spent in jail.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they were like, even if she's found not guilty. I mean, this was the prosecutor, Gubitosi. I think he told this to Martha Coakley, who was on Kelsey's team, that, we're not going to be looking for jail time. It's like,
it was unbelievable. Yeah. After all that, we're not looking for jail time.
What are we doing here?
Right. Right.
And that is what prevented her from being able to see her son and have a relationship with her son. The fact that she was in jail is what stopped it. She couldn't end up going because not only when she was on bail, one of the conditions of once she was in jail, and then when she wasn't in jail, she was on bail. One of the conditions of her bail, not just the restraining order, her bail was that she couldn't have contact with her son. Never have I seen that.
Which again,
the superior court crossing over to family court.
Unless you're charged with the abuse of your child.
It had nothing to do with the son.
Right, which we know that didn't happen.
Right.
What the hell is the court doing with that? There's nothing.
What's the superior court doing that for on a criminal matter? Like that had nothing to do with the child whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
And so they added in that extra layer into the criminal charge by putting that in her bail that prevented her from going back. Even if she got the restraining order modified, she couldn't see her son because it was part of her bail conditions.
And what they do there is they're leveraging the child to attempt to force a plea agreement in which 100%. She accepts guilt. And if she accepted guilt, she's not getting her kid back. Like that's the thing. That would be the lie of the state, is that they would leverage the child. And then the moment she's like, well, I guess I was guilty, blah, blah, blah. Be like, you are not safe for children, lady. You're a felon.
Exactly. Which is why it was never an option for Kelsey. Kelsey always knew she wasn't going to be able to plead out. And that's why the GiveSendGo, because she always knew this is the route she had to go to get these charges eliminated. If she just did public defender stuff, you know, we know what would have happened. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to tackle all of this. They definitely would not have.
Nope. They wouldn't have, like you said, they wouldn't have time. And that's it. Public defenders are excellent attorneys. They have a ton of trial experience. Mm-hmm. They are, they're litigating all the time because a lot of their clients don't have anything to lose. So they go to trial more than pretty much any other attorney that's out there. And it's, I don't want to down talk family law attorneys because they go to trial a lot too, but you're going to trial in front of a judge and these guys are going to trial 100%. In front of juries. And so they're well-practiced attorneys, but when you have 250, 300, 400 files that you have to deal with in the next 2 months, like there's no way that you can sit down and attend to this case in the way that they attended to this case. I mean, they had to get statements from witnesses who aren't obvious, and they had to put together the arguments. And at first they had to hear those statements and go, that's actually really important. That's really critical. And then they have to elicit those statements and they have to make sure that they get that person on their side right away and that the narrative doesn't shift on the witness before trial. And it's like with a public defender, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do that, but I got my DUI calendar. And so I'm going to be busy all of Thursday. And then on Friday, I have domestics. Like they'll never get out to interview the person. They just don't have time.
Right. And actually, that's an excellent point too, Nick. When you think about how Tim Bradle was able to keep, like, people are like, oh, it's so long and whatnot. Can you imagine that she was charged? She wasn't charged until it was like probably July, sometime in July. She was at the hospital. But to have all the stuff that was thrown at her and still keep the case on track for being tried in March, that's pretty amazing, right? Like if it was a public defender, that definitely would, they couldn't do it. You know, they would have had to keep pushing it out. And there was like pleadings and all these things kept coming in and they had to go to court multiple times. But, it would have been very easy to get a continuance.
You do family stuff, but do you do like juvenile protection and stuff like that as well? Like, do you have to fight the state?
But I also do civil litigation, but I don't do any criminal. But no, I don't do any of the juvenile court stuff. We have a whole separate court for that.
Here's what they do. I know this system inside and out. Here's what they do. They will dump on you 1,000 pages of discovery the morning of a hearing.
Jeez.
This is, and you're talking about keeping this case on track, and they did, but like the state has the easy mode button. They will dump thousands of pages. They'll be like, we just found these. It's like, where?
Sounds familiar. Sounds like the Karen Reed and Turtle Boy cases.
Yeah.
and watch for it, because they're going to do it over and over and over. The state will not have any of this stuff. And all of a sudden they'll be like, oh, no, we delivered that. We delivered that at 7 a.m. this morning. Like, what's the problem? They should have time to read it. Like, how many pages is it? It's only 2,000.
I can hear Tim Bradle's voice in my head. Your Honor, we just got this morning. We haven't even had an opportunity to read this. That sounds like every single Turtle Boy hearing ever.
Every single one.
And the state will do it all the time, because either you keep the fight going and the state benefit, like I know the state's paying for court, but they are benefiting from making you pay for court, because the longer that they bleed you out, the more likely it is that they get a default victory on you somehow. But the other thing is keeping your attorney busy and off of his feet, and then hoping to use the deference that they get to force an error from the deference that your attorney doesn't get. And so you're right, 100%. For them to keep this trial on track, to see it through to completion, to secure the not guilty verdict, was truly a miracle when you think about it. And they deserve all of the credit in the world.
Add in 2 Supreme Judicial Court appeals during the proceedings.
And if you guys don't know, if you have to appeal something pre-trial, $30,000 to $50,000. Like there's at a minimum, it depends on your legal team, but my goodness, you cannot afford this stuff. You can't fathom how much it costs if you don't have some sort of help. And that's what we're asking again. I know this is telethon sounding, but this is telethon actual, baby. We want you guys.
Jerry Lewis imitation.
We need you guys to help out with this. Kelsey needs every single penny that people can help her with. And we know it's a big ask. We know about the economy. We know about your own personal stuff. Like, we get it. We get it. If you can skip a cup of coffee, if you can like eat Campbell's instead of ramen for one day. No, I'm just kidding. But anything helps. And that's the beauty and power of social media, is we can take these cases that have happened to people like Kelsey throughout history, have always been swept under the rug, because it's always the government controlling the narrative. And there's sometimes even a friendly judge who was like, oh, we can't have people talking about this. And you always wonder why. This is why. It's because these dollars that you guys are able to help her out with, just $1, $2, $5, $10 at a time, adds up to, we're closing in on 200,000. I mean, you think about how much support that is. And
incredible.
And she needs more. Like, I don't know how else to say it. Asking 200,000, she needs more in the long run. And this is a huge start. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it's been that everybody has been so great with the support from the first fundraiser. And it's been great. And the fact that we're still, and that's why I have to still keep explaining that, like, she's not done yet, because the most important part for her is happening now, with getting back together with Caidyn. And so, but I'm still so amazed. Like, I don't want to understate how much I appreciate the fact that people are still donating, because I know there's some fatigue with it, right? You kind of like, we're sick of hearing about this, and wasn't she found not guilty? Can we just move on from this? And I get that. I do understand it. So anytime anything comes in, like tonight, we're already at $3,380, which, I mean, that is just freaking incredible. And I mean, you people, I love all you people. I appreciate you all so much. And Maza and Nick and Joe and Lauren, Katie, who have been so vocal in getting the support to Kelsey, because it's an injustice, and we need to fight against that. We need to fight against that. And this is the way to fight against it. Otherwise, like you said, they go, I'm swept under the rug, and that would have been it. We can't do that.
Americans, our entire existence, the entirety of our country is based on this idea that justice was kept away from us. Now, like, I know we have these lofty things about, like, justice for all, etc. Justice was kept from us. It was kept from us by England. It was kept from individuals. It was kept from commoners. And most importantly, when they're like, hey, this system kind of sucks over here, but we're going to go and we're going to support the same country, but we're going to go somewhere else. We're going to forge a new existence, but at least like we'll have our own thing. They kept justice from us there too. And so what did we do? We took it. We took it in our damn hands. And we're about to celebrate that in a couple days. But that is a never-ending fight. It is a never-ending fight because government and authority bloat themselves and snuff out everybody else on their own gorging. They cannot abide justice on their own. We have to pull it out of them and wash ourselves in it like soap in Fight Club. And we need to be doing it. We need to be doing it every single step, because if it happens to you, you will understand that you are alone until everyone shows up.
Wow. That sounded almost like a Mazda rant that was.
It did. I loved it. Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. It was the first time I was ever in a Mazda rant without Mazda actually making a rant in the history of this program. It's incredible.
That's
I actually made a note of the time so I can go back and listen to that again. Like, maybe tomorrow when I'm on the treadmill, I'm going to be like, I'm just gonna put Nick on the loop there and just like do some Independence Day running on the treadmill.
Hell yeah. Hell
Let freedom ring.
Absolutely.
And I finally got my donation in. It took me a little bit because I didn't have my credit card saved on my computer, so I had to do it on my phone. But I got my donation in. I'll consider making another one by the end, but I'm going to need the audience to step up. Let's do it and help her out as well. Because, again, she needs every single penny. Imagine, it's really easy. It was mentioned before that people say get a job or get moving, whatever. Imagine if you have your child taken from you. Can you move on? Can you think of anything else in the world that you need to take care of more than getting your child back? I can tell you from my experience, I could think of nothing else. Nothing else. And oftentimes I was just sitting there waiting. There was nothing I could do because the government would tell me, do this stuff. And I'd be like, all right, done immediately, as fast as possible. And then you wait and you wait. When's my next hearing? When's my next thing? And you're at the mercy of government who dangles your own children. They dangle them in front of you, and they know that you want them back. They know that you want to be returned to normalcy. And then they'll also tell you the whole time, like, well, you need to do this and this and this. And you cannot advance. You can't even fathom doing something else. It's like, how do I today work to get my kids back? That's what Kelsey's up against. I mean,
right.
who here could pay $3,000 a weekend? That's crazy.
It's
like,
insane.
But yet,
and they
she's
think
found
the
a
job
way.
at Target's going to help that.
Target's going to make her work weekends.
They're going to make her work the weekend. She has to work around the court schedule for when they'll allow her to see the child. That's the other thing. It's like, it's a little bit hard to get a job. Like, she's so like tied to whatever the court tells her she has to do, Yeah.
Go to your boss and be like, hey, so at some point, the court is going to tell me something that I have to do, and they may give me 24 hours notice, and I'm going to need that day off. And if I don't get that day off, I may never see my child again. Like, I have to do it. So I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you to be dictated my schedule by me, but it's really
Bosses
the courts. Yeah, I know. Especially a middle manager at Target.
Yes. Like, they love that. They love to just accommodate you at every turn,
They're like, I don't have anything else to do but your schedule. You're right.
Yeah. Exactly. It's nuts. Completely nuts.
Again, imagine your life being stripped and the most important thing being taken from you, and to even see that child, to even see it is $3,000. It's a trip to the Bahamas. Like it's insane. Whoever came up with this system should have their knees smashed by an imaginary sledgehammer.
Yeah.
What was the name? Tanya. What was the ice skater?
Tanya Harding. Tanya Harding.
Yeah,
Nancy
let's
Kerrigan.
call her
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
She knows how to get it done.
Oh,
Tanya,
my
we
God.
need your help.
Oh man, although I have to admit, the Nancy Kerrigan, she was a little bit of a drama queen on that one.
Kind of
it was
a
just
priss.
a little tap, right? I mean, seriously.
Get over it, woman.
Seriously. I mean, it's just like a little tap on your knee. Like, we don't need the drama. Jesus.
You slide around on forks and you're out here complaining because someone came up and hit your leg. Shut up.
Yeah.
Mazza can't take it. Mazza's such a good soul. He doesn't need it.
I'm caught up on the number. I'm so caught up in the math right now. I'm like waiting for the GiveSendGo to
gosh.
update the numbers. Yeah, we just had
Look
about
how close we are,
$450.
people. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Come on. There's that person out there. I know we had a really big donation right at the beginning of the show. Nick
Yeah.
from one of Kelsey's big supporters. And I want to really thank him even personally. He donated $1,000 before the show even started. And
That's awesome.
We've had several people like that. It's just so amazing. It's so amazing. And it's so appreciated. It's appreciated I've become very, very close with the family. And they're just I can honestly tell you, they are like salt of the earth, great, nice people. They're just so nice. They're so great. Like, you want to have them over for your weekend barbecue. They're fun, but they're nice and they're appreciative and they're all the things. And
I don't know how to say this without it might sound derogatory to some people, but please know that it's not. You can tell because their daughter grew up wanting to serve her community and the people around her.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, that is the person that they raised. They raised someone like, look, I know some cops from when I went to high school, and they're the guys who are you like, oh, that guy's going to be a cop because he wants to murder someone and get away with it type thing. And he did actually do that. And he was fired from being a cop for creating probable cause. That guy, we all knew that asshole was going to be the bad kind of cop because he was a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey doesn't strike me as that. And I knew immediately when I saw that picture where the wind was blowing her hair that she was a good person. Like, I knew from that alone, I was like, I think she's terrific right now. But jokes aside, you can tell she grows up wanting to be of service to the people around her.
Yeah.
And agree or disagree with the profession. I have all kinds of problems with cops just on a conceptual level, but like, you can never deny that the overwhelming majority of them woke up with a value system instilled in them by either their parents or mentors that said, I need to help the people around me because that's the right thing to do. Not because they're going to get paid a lot. Like, they don't get a lot of pay. They don't get a lot of glamour. They might get shot. They're probably going to get beat up.
Yeah.
And yet, like, this is just the right thing to do. And that, that's taken away from her, but the values and character that built that woman will never be taken away. They tried. The only way they could do it was a bullet that should have ended her life, and it didn't. That character will go on, and now that character is known by the world because of it. It backfired tremendously. But you can tell that, of course, her family is going to be salt of the earth. Her family is going to be people who care, who probably believe in philanthropy. And if they don't have money for philanthropy, then donating their time and energy and support to people around them. These are community builders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she, and if you listen to her testimony, and I'm sure you did because you watched the trial, back to the point of like her parents raising such a great person. I mean, she was so good. I mean, she was so genuine. We were I was there in court, and you could just feel the real honesty coming from her and the sincerity of everything that she was saying, the body language. It was all fantastic, and talking about just compassion and caring about people and all of that stuff. And it was so freaking real. So you're 100%. Right.
100%. And that was the thing that came up in the trial. This is a credibility issue between two people. And the judge stopped short of saying that Noonan was not credible at all. But he gave that really, do you remember that really belabored speech at sentencing? He was like, look, he has to work, like whatever that judge does, he has to work with those cops. Like Noonan's, as long as he's on the force, he has to work with him and all of the people around him. He has to practically work with these guys as they arrest criminals in the county. If he comes in and blitzes the department and tears it all apart for credibility issues, he puts every single arrest in the past 6 years at risk, and he just can't do it. Judges will not do it unless only under the gravest of circumstances. So he can't do that. But he did everything to come in and say, this is a credibility test. And while I believe that both sides came up and gave their story, Kelsey's is more credible. And that is incredible. That's incredible that a judge would say that there, because like, it's like trying to wring out the desert and get an ocean. To get that out of a judge, to say, here's a credibility test between a cop and an accused attempted murderer, and the murderer is more believable. That's Kelsey Fitzsimmons summarized by a court in character. That's why this these fundraisers are working, and that's why, again, if you ever have any questions as to why you should donate to this woman, call me up. Toll free 1-800-GET-LAW.
You're missing a number. There's 2 W's.
Exactly. I'm not good at spelling.
We're having a spelling bee after this, after today's program. The last hour of the fundraiser.
Spelling Q? No, I'm just kidding.
Right. $759 away right now. Sarah B.
Wow,
thank you
we're
so
gonna
much.
make it.
WTF, come on.
Right. Yep. We've had a lot of great donations. All the donations have been great. But we had some big ones come in too. So just some huge ones throughout the night as well. And then those $5 ones are adding up too. Every $5, I mean, if 100 people donate $5, it's a lot of money. I'm not going to do the math off my head because I'm embarrassed, but no, it's a lot of money. It's great. And again, with Kelsey, I wanted to talk to Nick about this next thing about Kelsey. Was Kelsey on the stand? Was absolutely outstanding. Direct examination as well as cross-examination. She outperformed Patrick Noonan on every single level. And I thought that Noonan was more accusatory. He didn't have any remorse about it. It was just, well, she tried to kill me and I had to defend myself. Where she was like analytical. She was willing to admit where she thought she did wrong, could have done better, was unwise, while at the same time offering information that was right in line. And in fact, information a lot of us never heard before. But when she told her story, it really fit in all those holes that were always in my head about this whole story. What were your thoughts on her performance in court?
It was excellent. The preparation from her legal team was shockingly good. On direct, you never know where your client is going to go. You know where you hope they go, but you have to ask the right questions, and they have to be aware of the triggers that you're asking for, because you cannot advise them how to answer. So you're like, look, I need you to tell me about going upstairs. Like, I need you to walk me through going upstairs. I need you to make it very clear that they're like, you're not saying this to be, you cannot tell your client this. You're not saying this. You're saying, but I need those details. You've told me these details 1,000 times, but this is the only time that matters, is when you're up on the stand and all I'm going to be able to say is, so tell me what happened next. After you guys are in the kitchen, you have a conversation. What happens next? It's like, well, we proceed upstairs. You go, okay. something happen upstairs? So like you ask it like a jackass, but it's like, did something happen upstairs? Like, yes, I was overwhelmed. I realized my entire life in that moment was crumbling down. It didn't hit me downstairs. It hit me upstairs when I sat on my bed, the one place that I felt safe. I sit down and everything is going away from me. But I had that gun in my pocket. And I thought maybe just for a second, I could fix everything. I was wrong, but I didn't know I was. And I put the gun up to my head and I went to pull the trigger and nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. And then I heard the boom, but I was still awake. And I realized that I was falling down. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that has to come from what happened next? What happened next? What happened next? And then on cross, you've got the most arrogant, evil asshole on the planet. Even if they're not in that moment, it's their job to be. And they're going to go through and try and poke a hole in every single thing that you said. And here was the problem for the state. Kelsey's attorneys knew exactly what she was going to say, and the state thought they knew what Kelsey was going to say. But everything she said came out just right. And everything Noonan said came out like a dick. And so that wins it. But the question prep on it was clearly phenomenal, and her ability to hold it together and tell that story and just evoke all of those emotions that many of us have never gone through. I've never sat on a bed with a gun in my hand. I felt it. I could feel the weight of the gun in my hand. I could feel that cold barrel pressing against my temple. I could feel it when she said it because it was true. Because her fear was real. It wasn't manufactured. It wasn't rehearsed. It was, this is what I went through. And that's why the judge believes her over a cop in uniform.
Yeah, it was so genuine. It was really unbelievable. And being in the courtroom and hearing it even more so, just watching her body language. And, you know, like if you heard the cross-examination, it was kind of like, oh shit, we don't got really nothing to add to that. It was the most ridiculous cross-examination I've ever heard, because it was like nothing. There was nothing they could do with it. It was really
how
really
do you
pathetic.
assail?
It was pathetic.
How do you assail? I found out that my fiance was breaking up with me, and then he came with officers to my house and took my child.
Right.
And said that I was a danger to myself and to others. Like, how do you, what question do you ask? The only question you can ask is if you don't believe it. And if you can somehow find a way that story is fake. The problem is everyone has heard the fake version of a story like that, where you're like, okay, all right. You don't, because the details don't add up. The emotion doesn't add up. Something's off about it. The things that got her there were these little details and these little moments that weren't embellished. They're just things. And it's like, your whole world is tunnel vision, and all you hear is like, that's all you hear. And that's all you hear. And you know, it echoed in her own mind. That echoed, that sound will live there forever. And so when she tells us about it, we don't question it.
Yeah, right. It drew everybody in. I mean, it was incredible. When she finished, like the first thing I did, because her mom couldn't be in the courtroom.
Right, she's sequestered out.
She was sequestered out. And so when and she wanted to be in there because actually she had already testified, but they complained about her being in there.
Of course they did.
Yeah, and it was so weird because they ended up making her leave because she asked me, "Can I? Do you think I can go in?" And I'm like, "You should be able to go in now because you've already testified. You're testified." What they did was they said that we could recall her as a rebuttal witness, right?
So you're not going to call her mom as a rebuttal witness. She will
They
destroy
didn't ask
you.
her any questions to begin with, which was smart because whatever. She already had been through enough, the poor woman. And so she was outside, but it was killing her because like she and Kelsey, they both describe each other as their best friends. Like, Kelsey is Lauren's best friend and Lauren is Kelsey's best friend. And she wanted to be in there to be supporting Kelsey, like, so Kelsey could look over at her and like, there's my mom. I have the strength. I can get through this. They didn't want that. So they made her leave. They complained to the judge. And then the judge said, no, that she could get called, but unless she had to leave. So the first thing I did after that testimony was over, I just went out and I just gave Lauren like a huge hug. And I was just like, she could not have done better. She literally could not have done better. She did fantastic. And it's just like such a relief, that because, you don't know what's going to come up in cross-examination and you've seen how awful it can be and how much it can tear people apart.
That's the thing. What if on cross there was some statement she made to someone somewhere? Like we're talking about something where she's like, yeah, that Noonan guy's a real prick. She had one statement like that that they could have pulled up, and all they wouldn't have to bring it and introduce it. All they'd have to ask is, "Did you ever call Noonan a prick?"
Yeah.
And if she says, "I don't think so," be like, "Oh, that's interesting."
That's all they need, right? Like I don't think so is as good as saying yes, I did.
Yep. But if they're asking that question, they've got it. They've got it somewhere. And the moment that statement of yours is gonna come in over the hearsay objection and it's impeachment, so they didn't even have to show you that it was coming. It's just held in reserve. So like you said, you never know on cross. And if they had any basis to ask anything even like that, it could have dismantled the whole thing. But lucky for her, her character came through before she was ever in the situation. Her character that prevented her from having a bunch of those statements sitting out there.
Exactly. Yes.
And
there's no Proctor text in Kelsey's phone. You know what I mean? There's
a bunch in mine. I
don't believe it.
No, I tell crude and crass jokes as part of a living. There's
jokes and then there's not jokes.
Oh, right. No, yeah. There's nothing like that on my phone. Like that. There's jokes and I don't care about words. I don't care about syllables. There's no word that particularly bothers me. It's always about what you mean with the word.
Exactly. And your intent is what matters. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And you'll never find anything like that on my phone that has the venomous, nasty intent and disgust for humanity that those guys have. But
and they carry a gun and a badge. That's what's
right.
Scary about that.
And that's the huge difference is I don't care if a random guy's racist. I care a lot if a cop is racist.
Right?
That's a whole different world.
Racist or whatever. They don't like guy with sunglasses, whatever it is,
Yeah.
No one does. Why are you wearing those inside? It's so bright in here. I don't know.
None of your business.
I'm hiding from my past. That's what I'm But no, but I say offensive stuff all the time on my show. And I was in court the other day and I can't give details on it, but that was a huge part of my cross-examination. I'm dying laughing. I think it's the funniest thing ever. But with her, I wasn't on trial for attempted murder. Mine is a funny situation in the long run and the outcome of it isn't all that consequential. So I don't really care. But for her, if she would have had a history of doing a show like mine, those questions are really different. Hey, what did you mean by this? It's well, I've done 1,000 shows. I don't even know what you're saying I said. That could have crushed her. like anything like that. But again, her character, the preparation, and most importantly, the critical part of every criminal defense is the damn truth. It was just the damn truth.
Yeah.
The truth is she didn't point a gun at Noonan, and that became so obvious. And they weren't going to trip her up and get a procedural win over her because she was ready.
She knew what the truth was, and she never wavered on that. She knew what she was going to say. She didn't have to think about it. It wasn't something she was creating. It was just going to be the truth. And that's what literally saved her in the end. It's, what's really, I find it unfortunate that we've lost this person as a police officer, because she's fantastic.
Yeah.
We lose the good one and keep the
That's
guy.
right.
No,
That's right.
exactly. Like we need people like her. That's what we need. People with compassion and understanding. It's just crazy that, unfortunately.
When I got arrested, I was arrested with 2 other people.
There is. Okay.
And those 2 people considered me their attorney, at least for the purposes of arraignment, right? Like getting through this first thing. And the cops separated us and would not let me see my clients. They wouldn't let me do it. All I wanted to do is say, we're going to all go home tomorrow. All you need to do is go in and you're going to ask for this hearing. And you're not going to make a plea. You're not going to do anything. No admissions. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say to them. And they went through colossal efforts to keep me away, including at my arraignment, making a constitutional argument before the judge against me seeing my own wife. And I won that argument, and I got to see my own wife, which was nice. But like, that's the level that they went through on me. These cops shot another cop and are talking to each other. Like they're talking to each other about this story. Like they're, if there was a problem,
it's so obvious. Yeah.
And if there's a proper investigation, they would all be segregated out. They'd be individually questioned. None of them would be able to talk to each other. That's not how they treat you or me or anybody else. But they have their own way, and that's what makes this case. And I don't want to tie this into Karen Reed's like in any real way, but just conceptually, as people are watching. We're watching cops do
Well, it's
this.
the Karen Reed effect, right? I mean, that's kind of it. That's why we're all like, actually, I mean, I really think it started, and I watched you during the Amber Heard and that thing. It kind of started then, where people started really kind of like analyzing this stuff and looking at this stuff and being like, holy crap, this is insane, And then, of course, with Karen Reed, it went even further. But Nick, did you know that when the chief of police showed up to the scene of the Kelsey shooting, he took Officer Noonan's service weapon that shot Kelsey, and gave him his.
Here you go, just in case Kelsey comes back.
like normally you're immediately put on administrative leave after a shooting.
Until it's investigated.
Right. And it's like that happened like at the scene.
And the Karen Reed to the Karen Reed effect is this. It's similar there. You have a dead cop on a lawn, and you're trying to tell me you don't have probable cause to search the house that he was supposed to be in. Like, no one on earth would get this kind of deference. Nobody else. But these guys, like, oh yeah, here's a gun just in case you need it, pal. That's insane.
That's insane. I mean, like you're automatically put on administrative leave, pending an investigation. You're interviewed that day. They never interviewed Kelsey. They never interviewed her, not once. So
that's wild. Unheard of.
It's insane. It's insane. So, and she would have probably been happy to tell them her story, because she had nothing to hide. She was always going to tell the truth. That was the whole thing.
Because her story is still, I put the gun to my head and was pulling the trigger. I never, why would I point it at Officer Noonan? I mean, I felt bad, like I'm making this up, but I felt bad that he would be in the room when I paint the walls, right? Like, that's the real feeling of people who are in that state. it's like, I have to go. I wish this guy wasn't around. I've been trying to get rid of him, like get away for a minute. And I can't. I don't have any more time. I don't have any more time. I need, like, I am the worst. I am worthless. My life is over. That's it. And of course, if you can get someone through that, they usually can kind of start to recover. But she didn't get the opportunity because as fate intervenes and she doesn't die, Noonan comes in. He's like, blam! Sorry. Whoa, we almost missed one.
Yeah. Jeez. Over $60,000 has been raised through 18 Mazza Media fundraisers. I just looked at the latest.
Wow, Mazza.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
You sure are. You know? Wow. Yeah. That's you started doing these fundraisers so early on. I wasn't even involved in the first ones. I think the first one I came on was in like January or something. Yeah. But you had already been doing them. I mean, you were like right on board, like right away. Like before anybody even knew what the story was about, you were like already there. You're like, I'm doing
10 days after she was arrested, placed in jail. When she got out, then she went back. 10 days later, the first one was done on September 21st, 2025.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's that like, not to sit here and fluff you up too much, but it's that foresight that saves people's lives. Like legitimately the lifeline from the cruise ship that's thrown out, like when people realize someone's drowning, it's always the one guy who's like, no, I've been watching, this is bad, and throws the lifeline out before anybody else notices that the person is sinking underwater. And that's a huge credit to you and seeing that coming. And again, seeing Kelsey get this much support is phenomenal. I'm really happy about it. I don't know her or anything like that. I just, like I said, there was a picture of her hair in the wind, and I was like, I'm going to watch that. No, I'm joking.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. Like, it doesn't hurt that. I mean, she's a gorgeous person. I mean, she's a gorgeous woman. I mean, I'm totally comfortable saying that. She is a beautiful woman.
Me too.
But she's beautiful inside and out, you know, and she like I was there. I went for the whole trial, and Mazza was able to come on the last day, which was fantastic. Your timing was so perfect with it, Mazza. And he literally sat like literally inches away from Noonan when it was insane. It was insane. When the verdict was read, it's like Mazza was literally sitting like he could have like been playing footsie with Noonan. It was that close with him. It was so wild. But Kelsey meeting Mazza, you know, like, again, it was like another goosebumps moment for me. Like, she was just so, she never saw him before, but she knew how much he had supported her and done all the things. And she gave you a huge hug, and it was awesome because she just appreciated you so much. And, you know, she didn't have a voice. She really couldn't be talking about any of the stuff beforehand. But she was so gracious, even throughout the whole trial, through people coming up to her during the breaks and stuff, you know, always with a smile. And like, the woman's on trial here. It's like, it's pretty stressful, but she never brushed anybody off. She was always so nice and gracious to everybody, and so thankful for all the support, always, every time. So, that's just a genuine human being. Like that's all. She's not faking it. That's who she is. That's the person she is.
And after the verdict came out, she's, you know, they were outside, the family, the closest friends, you know, people that knew her were all gathered around, and they were having their time. And I stood far away, kind of where the stairs were. I was like, I don't want to crowd what I consider to be very personal time for Kelsey with her friends and family. And I said, what I'll do is I'll just stick around for a while, and maybe I'll have a moment to just congratulate her when that time comes naturally. So I'm waiting. I'm just thinking, you know, they're probably going to need, you know, probably some serious time. When all of a sudden I hear Mazza. I think I was looking at my phone. I hear Mazza. I look up. It's Kelsey walking right towards me. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was just, because again, I thought that they, you know, that time, I wasn't expecting it. I don't think, like I said, I think well of myself, but I don't think that I don't see any level of importance or value of myself more than beyond, like, I'm a normal person, right? And for Kelsey to come over and just out of nowhere.
And you're super tall. You are
right.
Super
Yeah.
tall.
Yeah. Show that just the appreciation. It meant a lot to me. But to me, it spoke. Well, she was thankful for my efforts. To me, I thought it spoke volumes about her. Because she just showed the appreciation, went out of her way.
Right at that moment, like an unbelievable moment in her life, like being found not guilty. She was like looking around and saw you and wanted to come over and thank you, and it was really that. But that's who she is. That's who she is. She's that's why I say it sucks that we lost a good one, because in terms of like her career, because those are the kind of people you need, the ones that will show up and understand and have compassion and be genuine. We need genuine people. You know. Hey, Red House Media.
We're at 4,000. Tonight's total is $4,696 roughly. I think. Almost had to check that.
We're getting close, guys. We're getting there. We're almost to 200K. We can do it.
I think we can.
Yeah, $408 is needed right now, and we have to get to raise tonight. Total would need to be 5,104 would be the total we need. 5,104 raised tonight, and absolutely. That's incredible. Yeah, again, it was just she went out of her way like that. And I was like, figured maybe 5 to 10 more minutes or something. I'd probably have a chance to say hello to her and congratulate her. But yeah, she came right to me, and it was awesome, and I was grateful for that. And and Aiden captured the pictures. He happened to catch that, and it was all over the internet. That was cool. Yeah, it was a great time for everybody.
Awesome. That was awesome.
It was great to see people. Rami, I got to meet Rami and Meredith Spencer. KY Maverick, yourself, Lori, Lauren, Katie, you met all you guys in person. It was unbelievable.
Strange Credulity was there as well, I believe. And it's funny, you don't know anybody's real name. It's like, hey, Strange, like whatever.
It's so weird. But at least at least the names aren't like in other parts of the internet. It could be really bad. Like Don's fourth butt plug is over here. It was nice to meet that guy. It's like it could go that way. So I'm glad. I'm glad it didn't.
Thank God, right? That's funny.
But no, and again, it all circles back to what you said, though. It's testament to who she is and where she comes from. Right. It's why she resonated with so many people, because anytime you have someone who has a normal, upstanding character, the kind of person that you hope your kids will look like and emulate. I don't mean physically look like. I mean look like in how they act, how they behave, what their interests are. So you have a respectable person who's emulatable. That person becomes the symbol for justice, because we're not sticking up for like the crack dealer who had his rights violated or something. You're sticking up for someone who's so obviously wronged by the system and whose life is being skewered because of cowards. And make no mistake, the police involved in this at all levels, and the prosecuting attorneys involved in this are cowards, because this prosecution had nothing to do with her guilt and had everything to do with shielding the department from having to explain why an officer discharges a firearm at another officer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well said.
Right. That's a fact, too. I mean, they literally, right after that incident happened, they found a path to try to cover this thing up any way they could and try to make it seem like, oh, well, Old Ney didn't do this. And that's exactly the impression I got from the get-go. They had no control over the scene. They had the requester of the restraining order there. Hey, this might be the man himself right here, Steve Fitzsimmons. Absolutely. There he is. That's the father of Kelsey Fitzsimmons right there. Steve Fitzsimmons, who takes a big stand for his daughter. And I can certainly say, after meeting him in person, this guy stands up for his daughter as much as any father that's ever existed on the face of this planet. And that's not, that's by no means an oversell. It's certainly true. This guy is passionate about his daughter. And, was absolutely just great to see him see his daughter acquitted. You got that?
Wasn't there an extremely sweet moment after the verdict came in?
Absolutely.
Where she turned around and gave him the biggest hug.
She did. And I started crying. I literally started, I was right behind them. And like, that was like, she turned around and saw her dad and they just embraced. And like, can you imagine that culmination of just all the feelings and all the things? And yeah, it was really touching. Very, very touching. And I met Steve. I saw him there. He was there obviously every single day. You know, he didn't take no shit. Like, just saying, like, I don't know if you know this, Nick, but like when we were all trying to jockey for seats in the courtroom, especially on verdict day, because everybody was there and there wasn't a big space. And the court officers had come out and said, witnesses can come in, and then family of Kelsey, and then the police. Like, huh? What? Like, what?
Those guys shouldn't be in there at all.
Right. And
they're not on trial.
Right. They're not on trials. Like, just random police, not even police that were witnesses, just all the police. Like, and they got their own special place to sit upstairs from where the courtroom was. And then, like, we were all in line, like, you know, trying to, like, whatever, stand on our feet for 3 hours waiting to be let in. And here they come down as soon as, because they're getting special information that tells them, or the judge is coming back or whatever. And they come down the stairs and then they're filling up half of the courtroom, you know? So I just love the fact that, because they said family and witnesses. So Steve, Kelsey's dad, literally stood at the door and he was just like waving us all in, and he was going, family. It's like, no matter who we were, because he was so pissed off that, you know, like the cops were just let in, and we were all just like, those of us that had been there for hours and days, you know, standing there waiting to get in. It's like, okay, you let that happen. So, but it was beautiful. It was great. I loved it.
Well, I've never cried in my life because I had my emotions removed surgically. But I will say that moment, you know, that moment between them was so tender. It was good. It got me to stop talking, which is hard to do. Like, it's very difficult. So like much hats off. One dad to another.
Yeah, exactly. In the afternoon, there were a lot more cops than there were in the morning that final day, too. There were all of a sudden a whole herd of them had showed up, and it's like, oh, boy, here we go, and all that. Now, folks, we haven't had a donation over 10 minutes. We're $408 away, and if we could close this out to hit this $200,000 tonight, that'd be outstanding, because I'm so determined I probably won't sign off, but I also don't want to burn too much of my evening up either. It's like, I don't want to be here like midnight. It's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like, that's all right. Now, thank you guys for all the donations so far tonight. This has been an incredible night. This is actually the third highest grossing. We just got $100 in as well just now.
Oh, gosh.
So that brings us down
awesome.
to about 308 now. 308 away now. Wow. But yes, we've
308. Come on, guys. We can do this. Right? We can do this.
How many people are watching right now, Masa?
Yeah. 232 right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
You know, if anybody's on that hasn't already donated, I mean, even $5, like, seriously, you know, I realize times are tough. So it's like, I get that, you know, people don't have a lot of extra money to spare. And honestly, even just being here, you know, sharing the video, like and hype it too. That would be great. Get us up there in the algorithm. But that's awesome. That's really great.
Speaking of good dads, I saw that mine dropped a donation. Thanks, Dad.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yep. Dad of Nick. Thank you so much. There we go. Nice. That's great.
Thank you, sir. I saw that last name. I'm like, wait a second. Did Nick donate again? No, it was his father. That's great.
That's so cute.
Thank you, sir.
So he like what does he generally Jess is not going to be happy unless I tell the cow story, but like I'm not doing it until it gets 200K. And then the cow, there's this cow story, Nick, and I'm not going to tell it because at this point, if we get to 200K, I'll tell the story. Mazza gets very embarrassed by the story. He doesn't like the story. And so Mazza can go off.
It might be like a technical glitch where all of a sudden the stream just disconnects as soon as that story. Go ahead, tell the cow story. Click. Sorry,
right.
this podcast
Like
is
Mazza gets so worked up, but yeah. Anyway, but Nick would probably appreciate the story. I think he might appreciate the cow story. That's why I still.
Yeah, I want to hear it, but we got to get $300 more, right?
Yeah. I'm not doing it. I definitely. I mean, it's a hard stop, but not until we get to the 200,000. Because it does make Mazza so mad.
Oh yes, it's a tough listen. That's a tough listen. Yeah, these stories are tough to listen to. So everyone's like, "Come on, listen to it." Emily C, when you told the story originally, Emily C was on the show, and Emily's like, "I have a few follow-up questions." I'm like, "Oh no."
She's still every once in a while, Mazza. She'll still message me with a follow-up question.
That's funny. She put a bunch of cow emojis in the chat earlier tonight. I was laughing about
she
that.
wants it so bad. Yeah, like right. Yeah.
That's funny.
So there's new people here for Nick, and maybe they would have.
Yep.
Maybe they'd appreciate maybe they won't appreciate the cow story. But guess what? I won't care if we get to 200,000, whether they appreciate it or they don't appreciate it. I'll tell the freaking story.
That's funny. All right, closing on now. Nick just donated another donation. Thank you, Nick.
I did not. I did
not. You did not? Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I did.
He wants the cow story bad.
Yeah, he's like, I need this cow story. Tell me the cow story.
Yeah, you're gonna regret it, Nick. You're gonna regret it.
Yeah.
It's one of
tonight at 9:30, a cow story told by attorney Lori Mullen for the second time here on Mazza Media.
Yeah, exactly. And Mazza will mute me, and I'll just be like, telling it, but yeah.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you, Lori. We're about $258 away right now. $258 away from.
We're seeing the cows. We're seeing the cows in the chat.
Oh yeah, the people want the cow story again.
They do want the cow story.
It's like we want the cow story now. It's like I want the Dracula musical to be performed from the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Remember that Dracula musical?
Oh my gosh, you're such a nerd with all these movies things.
Absolutely,
I love it.
And I don't apologize.
You don't. I mean, you're so good at it. I don't even know how you remember half the stuff that you remember.
No, I do. I'm good like that.
All the important things, right?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Oh,
I don't have as many. What's up? No.
I'm just looking at the cows. I'm just looking at the cows.
Oh. 258 away. Here we go.
Cows.
Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I have the cow story in me. Oh my gosh.
Right. You're like, I don't know if I can tell the story now. You're gonna have to do it. Do it for the $200,000 raise.
I have my cow back here. I don't know. I can't see it.
Oh, do you?
I'm small. Yeah, I do have my cow. My cow. Well, it's really a buffalo picture, but I like to have my visual aids. I'm telling the cow story. Oh yeah, it's a creepy one. That's cow, Linda B. Oh my God. Yeah. Come on. We're 258 away. We definitely, Mazza, we can't go anywhere until we close in on 200,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've done this before. There was another night too where the fundraiser was supposed to end at 9, but we just wouldn't stop.
Right. We did. Yeah, we kept going.
We're every dime, we're gonna get to this next level. Oh my gosh. And where are we at? We're at you said this was the third highest.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. It's the third highest of all of them, which is crazy to think that this one's awesome. Actually topped. We just get a couple donations here: $28, $25, $25, and $5. The GiveSendGo is a little slow updating, so there we go. Oh, now there it is. It's at $199,742 now. All right, that updated.
Oh my gosh!
Now it's now it's officially down to 258. So I actually went ahead. I put the number in ahead of time, so it's 258 officially. But there's still another update to come. So a $5, $28, $25, and $25 is $50, $78.
Yeah.
About another $83 is going to be knocked off that. So we're really 258
so we're
minus
under
83.
$200 that we need here. Okay.
Oh, we can do it, guys. Come on.
I know. I think we can. I think we definitely will.
We're at about 175 right now. That's the truth. I think it's below. I'm doing a manual calculation, but it's about 175 away right now. That's
there's no way people can take their donations away once they hear the cow story, correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
that is
good.
correct. Yeah.
We got that
We
one
got
locked in on the phone, Cheryl? We do? We got that one locked in. Okay, we got it locked in. No.
We got the $200,000 has been hit. Bob Mercado just made a $257 donation. It's over.
No
folks.
way.
Yep, it's over. I just
Was
had to get
that
the
your
official tally.
dad? Is that your dad, Nick?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so awesome! I
Yep.
love that your dad is like
Thank you,
watching
sir.
you. Your dad might
Yeah.
want to turn it off for the cow story.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We
I
are
don't know,
there.
so-
200,000.
That's awesome.
Oh, he just texted me. He's like, crap, I was trying to get it to $1 left.
Oh, okay.
but he over donated. So that's
all
what
right.
you get for not teaching me math.
It's all his fault.
Yeah.
That is so huge. Thank you, Nick's dad. That is so amazing.
funny.
So
That's
I don't know,
so-
Mazza, what do you think? Do I have to tell the cow story again?
You
I
can
have to.
start. It's your call. You promised it to the audience. They asked for the cow
I did
story.
promise
so
it to
you're
the
gonna-
audience, and they did kind of come through. I mean, so like
Yeah.
if you want to go off screen, Mazza, so you don't have to hear it again.
I'm going to be live updating the 200,000 here on the screen here. It's just waiting for it to. It's not there yet, but it's already. You can already go down to the donations, and another $100 came in actually. So we're over 200,000. We hit this, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for this. We're just going to wait for this to official. There it is, and there you have it,
Oh my
folks.
God.
$200,187.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much, everybody, everyone that donated. This is amazing that we've gotten to this point after we've already had the criminal trial, for you guys to recognize the importance of us continuing to do this so that we can reach the ultimate goal of Kelsey being reunified with her child.
Wow.
It's just amazing. I love all of you. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nick, for coming on. And thank you, Mazza, for continuing to do these fundraisers. So appreciative. It's awesome.
What a night. Wow. I did not. Wow. You just never know what to expect. Like most of the recent fundraisers have been right around $2,000 to $3,000. And you typically come to expect that kind of range. If not even actually expecting maybe to be a little lower or slightly higher. And this far surpassed. I mean, this has been, I'm just going to go to the data here. I'm just going to show you guys this data. 1 second. Let me share this tab. So right here, this is every fundraiser that's been done. Now, I don't know if this is visible enough for you guys, but this right here, $5,291 is where we're at. Now, if you look at the recent ones, we're higher than the 17th, the 16th, higher than 15th, 14th. Now, the 12th and the 13th ones were 11,000, 7,000. And then everything else going back to 11 was 2,500. Then this first row here, the highest was probably 4,300. So we have destroyed, collectively as a group here tonight, destroyed every single one of them except for these two, which were done really during the peak of the trial preparation there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that
was like the Kathleen McCarthy Naiman problem when Kelsey was in jail, incarcerated.
Right.
So I can see where those numbers came from. Right.
Right.
So like that fundraiser 10, 11, like the first one you did 9/21 and then 10, 11, when people started getting information about her being locked up.
Right.
Over that nonsense. People were pissed off. People were pissed off. Those were pissed off donations.
Right.
Sure,
Absolutely.
you know, which is understandable, but this is great. I gotta do the cow. I gotta do the cow, Mazza. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna go off screen? Are you gonna like?
I've heard it once. I can probably deal with it again. So you go right ahead.
You ready?
I'm gonna go brag about the $200,000 online.
Go for it. Go brag away. Go. You do your posting, because I feel bad that I'm doing it because I know that you hate it, and like, but like I did promise it to people, and they did end up kind of coming through with it. So anyway, I'll try to keep it as clean as possible, as clean as you can possibly keep something like this story. Anyway, so the cow story goes back to my practice as a family law attorney many years ago, when I had this case and I had a client, and she came in and she was having issues with her husband. It was a very highly contested divorce, and there were custody disputes. And an attorney that's a very good friend of mine now was the attorney for this woman's husband. So while I was away on vacation, she decided she was going to file this emergency motion, which really pissed me off, but file this emergency motion for custody to her client, alleging all these like nasty things about my client. So I come into work on Monday morning after vacation, faced with this like emergency hearing that's going to happen the next day, where this woman's filed, she wants to have custody of her child. So I call my client up. I'm like, hey, you got to come in, got to go through this. You got an emergency motion coming in, and we need to go through this. So my client comes into the office, and she sits down in front of me, and she puts down this, how long ago this was. She puts down this VHS tape, and she's like, I say, what's that? She says, well, that's a video of my husband effing a cow.
And the cow wasn't like her friend Erica or something.
No,
right?
no, a literal moo-moo. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yes.
Bold.
Right. So I say to my client, what did you say? And she says, I said, that's what my client said was, what do you think I said? I said, it sounded to me like you said that was a video of your husband effing a cow. And she said, you have very good hearing. I said, okay, goodbye. I'll call you later. Go back home. And I'm going to. So of course, me and my secretary, we watched this video about 4 times.
No. Who hasn't tenderized a hamburger?
In my office for when my small, adorable little children would come and watch Winnie the Pooh tapes at that point. So luckily I didn't get it mixed up with those and leave it in there. But anyway, so I watched this videotape, and I'm just like, this is like incredible stuff. I mean, like, this guy is literally, a cow. And so there was, let's just say there was a stool involved, like a stool, because he's not a tall guy. And
very unfortunate.
Yes. And I found out that like his sister was actually the one doing the videotaping, which that's even creepier. Like that's
normal.
That's normal.
How in the South was this?
Okay, yeah, that's what this is in Fall River, Massachusetts. Anyway,
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
So
anyway,
so that happened. So I call up the other attorney, and right away I'm like, I don't appreciate you scheduling this emergency motion. I just came back from vacation. And she's like, rah, rah, rah. She's very aggressive, like, what people would consider like a pit bull type of like family law attorney. And she's squawking at me and whatnot. And I said, well, just so you know, I literally just watched a videotape of your client effing a cow, and so she says to me, what did you say? And I said, what do you think I said? And she says, it sounded like you said you watched a videotape of my client effing a cow. And I said, you have very good hearing, my friend. And she said, okay, I'll call you back. And let's just say the motion did not go forward. She contacted her client. Apparently he did not deny. Well, there was no denying it. I mean,
I think his motion went forward, if you know what I mean.
His motion did not go forward. There was no motions going forward. If anything, the case ended up settling a lot quicker than we thought it would. And this friend and I still laugh like about it and saying like, it was the only case that she ever gave up so much, because it's like they didn't want this coming out, and her secretary was so disgusted. She was like threatening to report him to the SPCA and stuff like that. It was like really.
That assumes that the cow was like not having a good time. I think
the cow was, and and that's the thing. Like for people, I see people saying poor cow and stuff in the chat. Okay, you have to understand. Cows are used to bulls. This man was no bull, okay? The cow.
He was a gentle lover.
Yes, the cow didn't really notice. The cow didn't know what was going on. Like the cow was eating and just kind of chewing its cud, and every once in a while would I'm just saying, as a person who viewed the videotape several times, the cow did not actually look disturbed. I don't even think the cow noticed what was going on back there. I mean, it's a cow, and this was just a small man, a very small man in all respects, obviously a small, disgusting man. Yes. So yeah, it was the micro, definitely. Yeah. So the cow didn't feel anything. The cow was not hurt in any way, but it's still disgusting. And it says a lot about this person. And that was one of the weirdest cases that I've ever had. And I've had some weird ones. I've got some other ones, that, maybe I'll start a podcast and do my weirdest cases, and people like Mazza will definitely not tune in. He's like, I don't want
to. Exactly. Enough of the story already. Yeah.
Enough of the story.
It's amazing what you get into, though, because as a family law attorney, everyone's darkest secrets suddenly become the currency of ending a case. And that video is and no one would have to see it, because the news story would make it would be worse if no one ever saw that thing. And they're just like, what could a cow? Yeah. What is that even? Yes. They'd be wondering about it and visualizing it the whole time.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm sure that was happening, and there was no denying it. I don't think he realized that she knew that existed and where to find it. You know what I mean? And so once he realized,
is compromised, I repeat, the sister is compromised.
Yes, right. And once he realized it, he was like, okay, I'm out. I'm not gonna be trying to be getting, he didn't want these things coming out. And now here I am on a YouTube channel, no names, of course. And this was many years ago. And I could be talking about anybody. I mean, there might be numerous cow effers out there. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them. There probably are.
Yeah. Most of them are prosecutors, actually. That's what I've heard. And
that's the rumor. 100%.
Lally.
Oh no! Oh no!
It's always the quiet ones.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
No, we don't know that. That's it.
You survived another one, Maz. You survived.
I did. Yeah.
We got to 200. I don't think I'll tell you what. If we ever get to 400, I'll tell it again. But you're safe until then. How about that?
Appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we need a $400,000 donation right now.
Right now.
Exactly. If you're listening,
I'll even get more details. Maybe I'll actually release the video. How about that?
Oh, geez, no.
As you're not lawyer, I recommend strongly against that.
Right. Please do not post that video. Do not post that video, please.
That would end up with you getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Exactly. What a night, huh? We got the job done. Just an incredible night of donations. And Nick, I can't thank you enough for joining us here.
It's really my pleasure.
Thank you.
And
Kelsey,
your dad.
Yeah, thank you to your father too. Yeah.
Thanks, Pops.
Yeah.
No, Kelsey's story captured me immediately, because it is a story of where it hits every element of fear that people should have about what can happen to your life. And imagine that all of that happens, and the only avenue you have to fight is, because of our system, is just money. And the first thing they take is your money and your ability to get more. Yeah. That's the first thing that they take. The next thing that they take are the things you care about most: your kids, your achievements, your reputation. They take those and they strip them. And here's the thing: you might get cleared of everything, but the government's accusations will be there forever. And some people will believe them forever. And even if they don't, the potential problems of interacting with you, or more importantly, hiring you, and what that could cause for a business that doesn't have to put up with that will be there for a very long time. And this case just hit all of those things. It's like, this lady really seems like she was probably just a pretty decent person in crisis. And when people are in crisis, there's a couple ways to deal with it. Usually shooting them isn't the right one. I learned that somewhere, yeah. But so it was immediately enrapturing. My audience latched onto it right away. They got it. And that's a good thing about her story. You get it. And you're either one of those people who believes cops and believe government. And if that's the case, you're never going to believe Kelsey. But everybody else is like, well, this feels incorrect. And then as we saw the trial unfold, it's like, oh, it is. This is wrong. All of this is wrong. Yeah. And so it's been, it's really great to see this manifest for her.
Right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What a story, and just what a saga this has been for Kelsey, but it's been a story of overcoming. And again, just people out there like yourselves, everyone tonight that has donated, tuned into the show, shared the link, shared the GiveSendGo tonight. Thank you guys so much for that. To Nick Ricada, thank you so much for your time today. And thank you to your dad, of course, for just his charitable donations as well as your own. Greatly appreciate that. To Lori, thank you so much for joining here and donating as well. And also I joined as the host, of course, and made a donation as well. So we all donated tonight, and KY Maverick as well, who going through a lot right now. But he is fighting through that and still prevailed to be on tonight's show. So we pray for him as he heads into tomorrow for a very big day. And again, just continue to fight for justice. Whoever you choose to fight for justice for is your call at the end of the day. But picking someone to fight for justice for is always a great thing if you can help out in any way, shape, or form. So with that said, Nick, Lori, and to KY Maverick, Joe, thank you guys so much, and everybody that tuned in. Please have a great night. From Mazza Media. Tune in to Kelsey's Case Notes Unfiltered on YouTube. June 30th, this Tuesday at 5:15 p.m. for the first ever episode with Kelsey Fitzsimmons and Courtney Healy discussing their upcoming, discussing their stories and everything that's come to this very day and time in terms of that. The saga, talking about what happened, how she's overcome, what she's gone through, what she's fought through, and what a wonderful story. With that said, I thank everybody for their time tonight, and happy 4th of July, and America's turning 250, so happy birthday to our country.
Thank you. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Mazza. Have a great night. Have a
Thanks
great
for
day,
having me.
everybody.
Yep, anytime.
Bye.